Mother, man.
Can't believe us, dude. You know what really sucks? Your mother. Yeah. No, fuck, why? It's Monday. Fucking Monday sucks. Yeah, fuck Monday. Monday can bite my nutsack.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem! Well, goddamn. Nothing
What's
like
up, motherfuckers?
Beavis and Butthead throwing down again for Murder Metal Mayhem. We appreciate it. And yeah, it's Tuesday, and we're doing a new Murder Metal Mayhem. We're here at Horns High Studios. Well, kind of. I'm here for the Horns High Podcast Network. We're doing episode 229, but Chris, you're over there in McCormick Studios in Bloomington.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And dealing with some computer shit
again, fucking like always.
Yeah, it's like computers are amazing when they work, but when they don't, it sucks. But you were, like a pit crew, got fucking shit set up, and you're at least able to record that way and see each other on Zoom.
Right.
And so that's cool. And Joey, you're over there in the 419 with this new hat you got. Why don't you tell our listeners what that's all about, man?
I got this hat, big old block letters. It just says Toledo. It's a black hat with white letters.
It's awesome.
And Stephanie came home and she was like, I got you a hat. And she pulled it out. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm wearing that on the podcast. I was like,
dude.
I said, please tell me you bought this at a gas station. She said, oh yeah, I did.
Nice.
I was like, I told her I was going to take it down to the fucking east side and fucking get an airbrush fucking 419 and RIP Punky on it. Then
dude, you do like a Punky, like as if it was a signature on the bill. That would be sweet.
That would be hilarious.
That would be sweet. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm jealous. Chris, I told him, I said, I don't even wear hats anymore, and I want that hat. Like, that's just awesome, dude.
I did check out a podcast last week about Vera Joe.
Yeah.
That case and shit.
Yeah.
And those guys were the same way. They're like, I don't believe I sat through and had to watch that whole fucking documentary.
Yeah.
You got to watch that newer one if you haven't seen it. The other one's really good. It tells a different side of that story. It's really fascinating. So, well, very good. Well, Chris, what kind of T-shirt you got on over there?
I got on the yellow fucking aborting fucking grind mania shirt. Fucking represent the boys from down in fucking Georgia.
Nice. Joey, what about you, dude?
I'm wearing my PDM contractor shirt that we had made up by Murder Machine clothing.
Yeah, Murder Machine clothing. Lots of M's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
but,
that's
the John Wayne Gacy business card that all of us had gotten. So.
Yeah, I love that. I got to dig that one out. That's a great shirt. And of course, your Toledo hat. And I busted out one I haven't worn in a while, the Jack Torrance Sour Mash shirt. It looks like a Jack Daniels bottle with Jack Nicholson on it. So loving that shit. And yeah, it's weird always when I'm here by myself, but I've been recording the audio book for Creation of Chaos 4, so I've been in here a lot by myself, so it doesn't seem as weird as it usually does. But yeah, so we're doing this all remote tonight. And last week, guys, we did a classic episode that was so much fun to do. We got a lot of great comments about it. Some mobster shit, which we love. Henry Hill, of course, the Goodfellas thing. I mean, we're like all about Goodfellas. And, it's such an awesome movie, and it was great to be able to tell that story, I thought. And it was a wild one. So if you missed it, go back and listen, episode 228. And Chris, you did a feature. I love this idea that you had. What did you end up doing last week?
The album Roadrunner United, the All-Star Sessions, which is fucking pretty dope. Getting all them artists, 50 artists from 40 some different bands, just fucking
That was amazing, man. I listened to just about that whole thing. That's fucking cool as hell, man. I'm really digging it. And I love the idea that you introduced about doing an album. And I think it's actually inspired me to do something different even yet for my next turn, which we'll talk about when we get into this. So I think it's great. That's one of the fun things about doing this is all three of us are very creative. So we come up with some really great ideas, and it makes it fun. But we did that last week. We did some mayhem. I had a little mayhem to share that tied in with the episode. We did some killer cage match and the usual shit. So thanks to everybody that listened, man. We were passing 900 to that, almost at 1,000. So that's definitely big for an episode here lately. We usually hit that at the 2-week mark. So that's awesome. Tonight, though, we're going to be doing a feature on the original U.S. school shooter, a name I think a lot of people probably do not know. We're going to be talking about Brenda Ann Spencer, a 16-year-old who opened fire on this elementary school across the street, Chris.
Female.
Yeah, a female at that. First modern-day school shooting. It happened in San Diego in 1979. She killed 2, injured several others, including children and a cop. It shocked the country, and her comment of, "I don't like Mondays, this livens up the day," really stuck with her.
That got her the notoriety.
It really did, because what a fucking awful thing to say when you just shot up a bunch of kids and adults in front of a school. So we're going to have our buddy Shane. This is his first non-Canadian episode, so this will be fun.
Nice.
And we're going to have him on from Winnipeg, Manitoba, up there in Canada. We always love having him on.
Yeah,
the ladies love when we have him on, so we're going to give, hats off to the ladies, and we're giving you some Shane tonight, all right? And we're going to do that in the murder segment. Now, Joey, you got the horns tonight, and you also going with a cool concept. What are you doing tonight?
Well, it was Chris's concept because, again, Chris with the ideas. But I followed in his footsteps with doing an album, but I upped the ante, and I'm actually 2 albums.
I love it. Yeah, the compilations. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going back to Road Runner in the 90s. Yep. And the compilations are At Death's Door and At Death's Door 2. And whenever you hear how huge these were, you'll understand why I took a moment to put these in a segment.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really dig it. So I'm looking really forward to that. Just going to be learning some metal tonight. And Chris, you got a Lost Classic for us tonight?
I got something, yeah.
Awesome.
I sure do.
And we'll talk about some other metal news in our metal segment. We're going to throw down a brand new killer cage match. That's a fun one. We always love doing this. The listeners dig it. We got a list of 100 killers, 100 objects for them to fight with, a variable in the cage, and a song cranking as they fight to the fucking death. It's a blast, and we have some listeners who provide random numbers so we know who's fighting. Chris, who do we want to say thank you to?
We have Mr. Colin 815 Rogers.
Nice. Add in the 815. He is representing 815.
I did get it. Then we got our friend Jess Brown.
Hell yeah.
And we got the homeboy Jeff Ignatowski. So
that's right.
Yeah, dude.
I was trying to come up with a nickname that would get fuck with him, but I just leaving him alone. So Jeff's got that crazy last name, the Polish last name, just like Shane. So interesting. We got the 2 Polish guys doing the podcast with us with the wild last names. We got a nasty one though going down tonight in the cage, Joey. Who's fighting?
Yeah, we got 2 sadistic sons of bitches. Yep. We got the Vampire of Dusseldorf, Peter Curtin, and he's going up against Lawrence Pliers Bittaker, one half of the Toolbox Murderers.
Oh man. Yeah, Peter Curtin, creepy as fuck. Bittaker, of course, a lot more physical. So this is going to be interesting. And Chris, we know the objects can totally change this whole thing up.
Yeah, they can totally fuck shit up when it comes to that.
Exactly. And then the variable, that can get wild, and a song playing while they kill each other, and you can't miss it. And so we're going to do that in the Mayhem segment.
And I'll have the Mayhem story that I didn't tell last week.
That's right, Joey. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Now, big thanks to everybody listening, man. We're having some huge weeks. We actually broke our record, which was at about 7,600 listens in a week. This last week, we were at 8,070 total listens, which is fucking crazy.
That's fucking awesome. Badass.
Yeah, and the 2 weeks before that, we were up. We were at almost 5,000 for the 2 weeks before that. So we have really been exploding with some listens. So whoever is out there doing this recently, thank you and welcome. And this is great.
You guys.
Yeah, I mean, love to see the podcast grow.
Spread the word yourselves.
Yeah, for sure. So keep on spreading that. Spread it to your friends like a fucking case of the clap in a trailer park, right? Now, Chris, we got some 10 cities. Been doing this here lately. Why don't you count down the top 10 cities listening to Murder Metal Mayhem right now?
Well, fucking number one, we got fucking Chicago. Chicago been number one for quite a while. Two, we got Danbury, Connecticut. Those two always been battling it out.
CK's old fucking stomping grounds.
Fucking right. Number three, we got Austin, Texas. We got motherfucking number five. We got Honolulu, Hawaii. We got Decatur, Illinois at number 6. Melbourne, Victoria, Australia at number 7. Brisbane, Queensland, Australia at number 8. Our town, Bloomington, Illinois, is at 9. Fucking Vicksburg, is that Mississippi?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Vicksburg, Mississippi's at 10.
You actually had the numbers off. You were been off one, but I didn't want to throw you off.
I was like, wait, I'm
Vicksburg
off
is
Vicksburg's
number 9.
Number 9. Bloomington's 8. Brisbane's 7. Melbourne 6. And then Taichung City, is that how you pronounce that?
Taichung City, I think is how you'd say it.
Taichung City, Taiwan.
Fucking A.
Fucking A, dude.
Man, amazing. And you know, when I look at the top 10 countries listening, Taiwan has been moving up. They were at number 4 right after Canada, which is awesome. And Ecuador is now in the game in number 10. And the U.S., of course, is our number 1. It's like 80% of the listeners. But then followed up by Australia, Canada, and Germany, Trinidad, and the U.K., Norway, and Finland round out that top 10 cities or countries listening. So thank you to everybody. Yeah. We're at like 720,000 total listens right now. So things are just blowing the fuck up, man. We're reaching 1 million.
I'll say if any of y'all listening from Taiwan are representing the Gore Pot or the Fat Double Ard Camp, thank you, and keep spreading that shit out.
Yeah, I was wondering, Joey, if it had something to do with your friends up there. So that's awesome, man.
I mean, they're all into metal, so I would think that we could attract at least that, you know?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Now, make sure you guys are checking out our website, murdermetalmayhem.com, where you can get more information on what we do. We got a web store on there. You can get some merch. Link to that in the episode description. But, guys, as always, we got a lot on our plate tonight. Taking a little trip, sunny California, but don't want to end up in the sights of some freaky-looking bitch who hates Mondays. But we got to get Shane on for this one. So, Chris?
Yeah, let's get our fucking boring ass Monday morning murder on.
Persecution, a child stream of death, torment, ill begun to the soul that would never rest. Guidance, it means nothing in a world of brutal time. Electric, song is wild, to fear the event's mind. Silent scream, burn the unwanted child. Sacrifice your blood. Shed it, another child, bearer of no name. Restraint, insane games, some of the children condemned. Scattered, remnants of life.
That was some In Malice's Wake and the brand new song from their demo they just did of the Slayer tune Silent Scream, fucking wicked. saw that Melbourne and Brisbane are in the top 10 cities listening. Want to give those guys a little love, playing some killer Australian metal. And those guys are working on brand new stuff. Sean has been experimenting with recording, and so that's why they did the demo. But they're going in the studio this November. Can't wait. So thumbs up, from anything those guys are doing from me. I love that shit. So, all right, now we got Shane Borczuch on here with us. Shane, and how's things up there in Winnipeg lately, man? You guys in those fucking fires are just causing all kinds of havoc, man.
Yeah, I don't see too much of it here, but yeah, it's been pretty everywhere else in the world right now. It seems like they're having fucking heat waves, and here we're below normal. So it's been pretty nice, actually. I'm not a big
good
fan
for fucking you.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Dude, it's crazy that in Hayworth, where I am,
the sun.
You see like this haze sometimes, and it's like, that's crazy to think that it came from up there. You know what I mean? It's just bizarre to me, I live in the country, like there's no smog, like there doesn't exist. So when it's here, it's like really weird, So, I know it's not your fault, but I'm just saying you're Canadian, so you're kind of taking the blame.
Canada.
You're taking
Canada.
You're taking the blame.
I don't know where it's from. Like, it's not bad here at all.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. But good to have you on, Shane. And
Awesome.
tonight
Great to be here.
we're going to be doing a case that a lot of people probably aren't going to know about. And we're talking some Brenda Ann Spencer, the 16-year-old opening fire with a .22 rifle at the Grover Cleveland Elementary School right across the street from her house in San Diego, 1979, which, guys, is long before Columbine. But this is the first modern day school shooting.
Actually 20 years before Columbine.
Yeah, exactly. That's you're exactly right. She left the principal and custodian dead, injuring 8 more students, and a police officer got shot in the fucking neck. I mean, brutal. And she said she hated Mondays, which really pissed some people the fuck off. And like we were saying earlier, kind of put her on the fucking map. And, people are going to talk about that. And we're going to dig into the details tonight. Looking forward to this. Now, Shane, I know that this is the first non-Canadian case I think that you've been on with us, but what was it about this one? Because I gave you a few options and you picked Brenda Ann Spencer.
Yeah, just the absurdity of her famous Monday tagline meme was pretty intriguing, and
right,
it's a very fucked up thing to say. Like you said, it's just a very aloof attitude to have after committing such a horrific crime. And I was around in the 80s, and if you listen to the radio or watch MTV, you would have heard that song "I Don't Like Monday" by the Boomtown Rats, and so I was familiar with that. And I had no idea it was actually about this case, but And then there's also the Garfield connection. I wonder if it influenced Garfield. Garfield was a redhead. He didn't like Mondays.
That's funny. Interesting. So yeah, it's interesting topics that spin off of this one. So, and I think, we tend to go with the more obscure, and I think this is one, when you talk school shootings, not typically one that would be mentioned. And Chris, I was surprised that when I Googled U.S. school shootings,
you're on a list now, right?
There was a bunch of them. Oh, I'm sure. There was a bunch of them. I mean, I was thinking a handful. I mean, we're talking dozens and dozens. I mean, mostly, though, student killing a teacher or a single individual, whereas this one was, the mass shooting, and that's why they call it, the first modern day. But I was surprised. Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy that it was random like that. But, to have that happening, in a school environment, is just so foreign and just so shocking. So
I don't know. Just I think Brenda being like the first mass school shooting on record. I don't know why people don't know about that, especially with all the school shootings and shit and all the mass shootings in general going on these days. Like, you would think people would be more like Googling shit and like why is this a thing? And then seeing like, holy shit, this happened all the way back.
Yeah, and with a female too. You know, that was certainly shocking as well.
Not some kid listening to fucking Marilyn Manson and
That's right.
Again.
That's right. She didn't have a goremonger or a low 12 shirt on, so she wasn't down with that. But, you know, that to me is just, it's just a fascinating topic, you know, which ones catch fire and which ones kind of fizzle out, you know, and this would definitely be one that was hot for a while and then, you know, never hear about it again. And Joey, I did see when I scanned the list, your Toledo over there was on it, 1937, dude. Did you hear anything about that one when I told you about that?
Yeah, let me tell you about Toledo. I'm going to talk about Toledo for a second. I'm firing up this joint right now. I told y'all on the podcast a few episodes ago about the mailman who came and I gave him some weed because he was out of weed.
Yeah.
And it was tripping me out. Well, that mailman came back by the house today and dropped off a bud and some hash to my girlfriend to give to me.
Oh, damn. Oh,
so I'm
wow.
smoking this on the podcast for him. So what
Oh,
can
wow.
represent? Back to the question at hand. Yeah, back September 24th in 1937 here in Toledo, there was a 12-year-old boy named Robert Snyder who shot and wounded his principal. Her name was June Mapes, in her office because she declined to request a call or to call another classmate for him.
That was odd.
He fled the school grounds, and shot and wounded himself. So, you know, that was Toledo way back in the 30s. Now, like Pete said, there's dozens and dozens of these cases. But as I was doing the research for this, let me tell you, a lot of these cases, for whatever reason, Illinois is a very high percentage of them.
I noticed that too, dude.
and one that I wanted to bring up was 1902 in Carmago, Illinois. And there was a teacher, Fletcher Barnett, and he shot and killed another teacher, Abel Wiseman, in front of her class at a school near Carmago, Illinois. And after shooting at a pupil who came in to help her, he ended up wounding himself in a failed suicide attempt and then waited in the classroom until a group of farmers came to lynch him. Then he runs out of the building. He grabs a shotgun from one of the farmers, shoots himself before running away and leaping into a well where he finally drowned. So that was, I thought that was a pretty wild story.
That is pretty wild. Damn.
That's some page a day shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's so many of them on that list.
Shootings at schools have been going on for a long time.
Exactly. So. You know, 1840, I think, was the first one there. And University of Virginia, law professor shot and killed by a student. So this is nothing new, but like we were saying, the random mass shooting, certainly this would be it before Brenda Ann Spencer, but she really was the first one. So there's one thing we aren't going to do tonight, and I never like talking about politics. I used to be really into it, but I can't. So every time there is an incident involving a mass shooting, the gun debate always comes up. And remember, the worst act of violence in a school, we did the episode, Bath, Michigan, 1927, the worst violence ever in a school, 30 or 40 dead, I believe. But, and that was in August of 2021. We did that episode 149, and Harold Schechter wrote the book about it. A school board member rigging up the school with explosives and blew up the building on the last day of school, tried to kill everybody in the building. Very fucked up. But if somebody is hell-bent on fucking killing, they're going to find a way to do it. So it doesn't have to be a gun. To me, I mean, banning guns to stop it is like banning forks and spoons so people are going to lose weight. You know, it's silly.
Right.
So anyway, Brenda was born 1962 in San Diego to Wallace or Wally Spencer and his wife Dorothy, and she went by Dot. So that's kind of weird. She had two older siblings. She was picked on, like most kids are the youngest. And I'm not sure how bad it was, though. I mean, Chris, I don't know, how brutal were you to your brothers? I mean,
we were. We were good.
Yeah, because you're
Did
the
you ever
oldest.
almost kill Michael?
I mean, never once.
Yeah, so I know that you're the oldest of the three of you, so I figured
Right,
there's
yeah,
probably
I
been a
mean-
little bit of abuse. And Shane, do you have any
No siblings.
no siblings? And
Oh, you're an
Joey,
Only child alert.
yeah, yeah. So Joey, you're the same way, right? Oh no, you got a sister, right?
No, I got 3 sisters.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, my sister, I have a few good stories of shit I've done to her about putting her in a refrigerator box and throwing her down the stairs and
Fuck yeah.
fun stuff like that. Just experimental things. That we did
You
to
try
the
to-
younger kids, right?
At least you didn't overdose your siblings on drugs and now
Yeah.
they were dying.
There it is.
That's true. That's true. So.
Morphine patches.
So,
Morphine patches.
she got some abuse, but I don't think it was anything too over the top. But the parents didn't get along very well. Her father got busted cheating on old Dot. He goes to her and says, "If I left for a year, would you take me back again?" And she's like, "Get the fuck out of here." So he goes and gets his own place about a mile away. And then slowly, though, one by one, the kids all move in with the dad. The mom definitely comes off fucking cold as shit. Very not giving a fuck about these kids. I mean, just seems shitty. Even now, or modern when she did that interview. I mean, many, many years later, she just comes
We'll
off
talk
really
about
cold.
that.
Yeah, for sure. So Shane, I mean, Brenda's born a loner, and we know that is definitely, a sign of sometimes, some trouble ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And it said, that she liked animals as well. And
Yeah.
so, she had a rough time. And it's strange how someone like that could be kind to animals, and yet she's going to open
Right.
fire on a school full of children.
Right. Yeah, the irony there is just so bizarre, but I know a lot of people are that way. You can watch a serial killer documentary about some motherfucker that just killed 30 fucking people, and he kicks a fucking dog, and he's like fucking devil incarnate, you know what I mean? So people,
Yeah, right.
Not hard to understand. They have a pathology, that they get burnt enough by humans, and they tend to be more open to the unconditional love and companionship that animals offer. And
right. Yeah, I
they
mean,
avoid a
it's
bit of
just,
the complexity, disappointments associated with human interactions.
right. Right. Yeah, I mean, so people are, very, very passionate about animals. So she really was too. So it is very odd that she had this, that what she did. Now, Chris, old Wally, a little bit of an odd one. What was his deal, man? He was fucking weird.
Yeah, I mean, you see the fucking interview that he finally did and shit. Like,
Right.
yeah, he's strange as shit. Fucking,
Right.
but, like, he had this fucking 3-bedroom house across from the school, whatever, and all the kids were there. They got their fucking rooms, but him and Brenda apparently shared not a room, but a mattress on the living room floor, which I'm sure we'll talk about later when she gets into that, because there's some stuff that gets brought up about that. But fucking, she didn't have her own room. She's 9 years old, fucking hanging out, fucking with her dad on a mattress on the floor, fucking.
Right. They were in a bedroom, so they had their own
Yeah.
bedroom, and they, like
Was
you
it?
said,
Okay, I thought it was a living room. In the
shared
living
a
room.
mattress on the floor. But you know what? It's odd that they wouldn't have put the girls together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
That just
It's
seems
fucking
odd.
strange, dude.
So
Like,
He seemed to be a weirdo too, but it's
super weirdo.
but this story it's hard to tell too, because a lot of what Brenda Spencer was saying might have been all bullshit too. It's hard to
exactly.
tell. A lot of the things that came up about what she brought up in her life came at convenient times for parole and other things. So I'm not trying to down or talk shit, but her dad did finally give an interview like
Right.
not too long ago, and he said that never happened. They did sleep in the same room, but they had their own beds. And so it's like, I mean, you hear one side of the story, you never really know if it's true or not. But regardless, he was a stranger, and we'll talk about some other weird shit he did too.
Yeah, he does a lot of weird stuff. So yeah, we're certainly setting the table for the weirdness with this dude. But like you mentioned, Chris, in that interview he finally did, just seems like a really fucking strange guy. I mean, just comes off really creepy, very sketchy. So it's strange, with the sleeping arrangements here, but it just adds to this story. At the parole hearing she had on this video or the documentary I watched, Brenda would say that her father did sexually abuse her, but we don't know what's true and what's not. I mean, with any of these stories we do, some of these killers, obviously grossly exaggerate, do what they can to sympathize for maybe getting a lighter sentence or whatever. And then in other cases like Pee Wee Gaskins, telling and Henry Lee Lucas had fantastic tales to, have bragging rights in the fucking joint. So, I mean, it's hard to believe these people, and we just don't know what Brenda was saying was true or not. But, of course, he denies it in that video. But like Chris was saying, dude is so sketchy. I don't know if I'm putting a whole lot of credence in anything he's saying either,
Well, also, I think it's kind of fucked up in that interview, like with her mom and shit. She's like, she had a feeling that there was something going on like that, but she didn't have the money for a lawyer, so she just let it go.
Right.
Like, like, wait, hold on. You think your fucking ex-husband or whatever is sexually abusing your child, but you don't have money for a lawyer, so just turn a blind eye? You should probably do something if you think that's going on, though.
Yeah, that's really very shitty. I mean, that's why I said she just comes off like she really doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
And, it's hard to know here. Like I said, these people, obviously, you're on video, you know that people are going to be watching this. You're going to make yourself look as good as possible. Yeah, so it's hard to really know. But Joey, I mean, Dot said that she did think that shit was going on. What did you think about her story there?
Maybe she did suspect some things, and it is possible. I mean, this is the 70s we're talking about, and it was a lot different for a woman to go against her husband.
You're right, dude.
It's shitty. Now people will listen a lot more and pay attention to, but back then it was just kind of like, almost like, oh, well, that's your family's issue. So you guys, if you guys think you can work through it, AKA if the husband's like, oh, this is fine in my household, I don't know, it's fucked up. But
no, it is, because to think of it nowadays, it seems so archaic, and it really is archaic, but it's amazing how much different things are today. And thankfully, in this case, for the better, because that's fucking awful that shit was going on.
But it's also hard to understand too. I mean, the whole situation's weird because the kids, like you said, they voluntarily, basically one by one, chose to go live with the dad. So if he did have some kind of abuse or weird shit going on, they obviously were warmed to that, or were just so off put by how the mom treated them that they would rather be in that situation. That's how I feel. I don't really know. Like I said, two sides to the story, but they all did move in there with him. And we're going a little bit ahead of ourselves, but Brenda had visits from her dad till this day, or till, whenever.
Yeah, no, he went every Saturday.
Yeah, he was the only one that always went to see her. So I don't know, like, if you have that much hatred and animosity towards this person.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they put it in the past, but that's just, I don't know, dude, like you said. And it was like hours away. I mean, this was not like around the corner. So it was like 3 or 4 hours away every Saturday he was going to see her.
No, super mysterious case we're talking about.
Yeah, very, very strange. But she was born and, raised like a tomboy, loved being outside, all about guns, loved to shoot, hunt with her dad, with her older brother. They say she was a good shot. She struggled, though, with school, started skipping school at a young age, started using drugs, or so she claims, which we're going to get to that, at age 10, but mostly weed, also some pills. definitely not good for a fucking 10-year-old. And then she claims it got into PCP when she was in her teens. But, you know, we know she definitely exaggerates about things. So I don't really know. I mean, what do you think, Shane? I mean, she's getting in some trouble. She's 13 now.
Yeah, well, she went into a store, stole some bullets, and they got
with her 9-year-old neighbor. I thought that was funny.
Neighbor, yeah. And so they were gonna steal some bullets and sell that to get some drugs, and then they got busted for that, and the cops took them home, and nothing was done, and you know, it's just the way it was out in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. It was they just wrote them off as kids being dumbs, and that's just the way it was. That's the way she fucking goes, boys.
I guess
the way she goes, boys.
Does this not sound like a Ricky and Julian like caper at some stealing bullets to buy drugs? I mean, it's the most fucking bizarre, greasy ass fucking operation I could think of. But I just think it should have been on the Trailer Park Boys. I mean, that's just classic.
It's like trading up the weed for the cigarettes with Sebastian Bach.
Yeah. or getting some medical dental work done by Sam, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, they get busted, and like Shane said, you know, cops are just like, kids will be kids, you know, and then nothing really happens. They stole some bullets for drugs, you know, whatever. This kid's fucking 9. And of course he blames Brenda for it, which, you know, I mean, that's what's going to happen. And
well, in hindsight, maybe that was the case.
It's probably,
honestly,
yeah, you're probably right.
It was a plan. You know, I remember what I was doing, and what that would have been around. She was in grade 7 then, or something at that age, and yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Get a 9-year-old kid to steal some shit for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I'm sure you guys are right that it would have been her scheme. But, you know, nothing happens. Then she's age 14. She gets into this bicycle accident where she hits a street sign and has a concussion. And her mom is just like, that's your dad's problem. That's his responsibility. She never goes to the fucking doctor, and she's having like extreme headaches after that. I mean, that's fucked up. And then Chris, here we go with the fucking head injuries, dude. I mean, leading to violence.
That's what I like. Obviously, like you said, as always, like 90% of the time,
right?
Some of these fucking killers and serial killers, whatever, they have had head trauma that never got dealt with, or even if it did get dealt with, it was just so
severe,
intense. So yeah, so severe, so intense that it didn't fucking matter. So like, even though she's like acting out, being all crazy and violent or whatever, it's just like teenage girl being a teenage girl is all I had to say. But
right. I mean, what would the dad? What if you were the dad? Right, you'd be thinking the same thing. Like, all my buddies are telling me their teenage girl drama shit is crazy. You know what I mean? So.
Dude, I got 2 teenage girls, man. Like,
yeah, you're living it now. Yeah, my daughter is in her 30s now. So, yeah, that was a few years ago for me.
Yeah, I got a 14-year-old girl and a 16-year-old girl. I'm going
Jesus. Oh, boy. Yeah, so I'm sorry. You definitely got a leg up on that one on me. But, you know, that's could easily be written off at that this stage, I think, you know.
Well, they actually did a brain scan on her.
Yeah.
You know, after she said that she had a rare form of epilepsy that affects the front temporal lobe. And that's the part of your brain that controls rational thinking. You know, you can tell right from wrong, and has something to do with audio and visual processing. So.
Yeah, that's, you know, that you're exactly right, Shane. I mean, that definitely is eye-opening, you know, that certainly could have been the cause of this whole fucking story here. I mean, but I mean, Joey, we're talking about her use of drugs. We know that she tended to lie, but I mean, what do you think of this? I mean, it's the fucking 70s, right? I mean, teenagers are doing all kinds of drugs.
Yeah, it's the fucking 70s in California, like San Diego, like obviously they're fucking partying. So I definitely fucking feel that, you know, she was definitely doing something. Later on, do I feel like she embellished a little bit to show how fucked up she was to try to get out of her accountability during the crime? Yes, I do think she used that a little bit, but not because she wasn't doing it at all, you know. So, you know, she ended up in an alternative school too, so she was fucking up in kind of like lots of areas of her life. So even if it wasn't drugs, she was still fucking up, obviously, because she had to get taken out of regular school.
Right.
She got in trouble for vandalism in elementary, you know, where the gunfire would end up happening later on.
Right.
Of course, that probably a matter of convenience since it was right across the street from her house.
Right, exactly, right. But that is weird.
Fucking, yeah, I don't know what she wrote on it, like Columbine 420, like predicting the future. I don't
know. Right. Yeah. Definitely fucked up. But again, with the 9-year-old neighbor, she takes over there to vandalize the fucking school. I mean, leave that fucking kid alone, man. Brant was his name. So Brenda's 15 now. She's seeing a counselor regularly. The counselor said that Brenda was obsessed with guns and drugs. That was all she would talk about.
Fuck yeah, sounds like my kind of chick.
but Brenda seemed to like the counselor and was going like every day for a while. And then the counselor told Wally, her dad, and Brenda, or that Brenda needed to see a psychiatrist and that she was suicidal. Now, he denies ever being told that. The mom also talks about this when she's interviewed later. This would be the source of some controversy since Wally's the one that bought Brenda the gun, the .22 rifle, that she ends up using in the school shooting. So that's always, you know, the first thing is, where the hell did the kid get the gun, you know? So this one, Dad bought it for her for Christmas, you know? And the counselor said that she reported her concerns also to the psychology service that Brenda was using to get to her, and they didn't do anything about it either. So it wasn't, you know, she claims she told the dad and the service, and neither did anything. So, you know, very frustrating. And Shane, I mean, when you hear about failures like this, you know, in a system that's supposed to help people, you know, it's very frustrating. And, you know, we hear about this in the U.S. on the mental health side, but I wondered, how does that differ over there in Canada? Because I know you and I were talking about, you know, the whole national health care there and maybe some misnomers, but what did you want to say about it?
Yeah, no, we're pretty fucked up too. I think it's a common misconception that Americans have about our healthcare system, but it's definitely far from perfect. We might not have to pay out of pocket for everything, but there's a lot of wait times and ridiculous wait times to see a specialist or have a procedure done. It's often limited access. People go down to the States and down to Mexico to get stuff done. Shortages of staff and budget, and so people fall through the cracks here all of the time. And there's horror stories all the time on the news about our medical system, and it's, you know, a hot button politicized topic.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, in my opinion, you know, there's nothing free. You're paying for it in taxes, you know, so
definitely.
That's why everybody's like, oh, this national health care, you're going to be paying for it. You know what I mean? Right. It's just, you know, that's why, you know, a Whopper is $8 now, wherever the fuck it is, because of all the shit taxes and things that affect it, you know, so everything goes up, you know.
I see what you did there with the Whopper. I see what you did.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about Whoppers this week, right? So, you know, very frustrating though, Shane, you know, to hear about somebody slipping through the cracks like this, you know. You'd hope that they would be there to help her, but obviously, you know, she kept doing the counseling, but not so often. And, she did do it up to the shooting there in 1979. And then also she was involved in some harassment of the two girls that apparently were the snitches about the school vandalizing that she did with the neighbor. And so she's like threatening and harassing them. The parents are fucking terrified because she is just creepy as fuck. And she's screaming at him and acting all crazy. So I think she looks like fucking Carrie, you know, just really fucking
I can see that, yeah.
Pale with the red hair, just fucking eerie looking. So I could see. I mean, I was scared of this fucking chick. She just looks freaky. So I can only imagine if she was screaming at me, it would be fucking unsettling. But it's Christmas 1978, and Wally buys Brenda a brand new Ruger 22 with a scope for Christmas. Also, he gets her 500 rounds of ammo, which, you know, he said like when they would go out shooting, they would go through at least half of that. So
dude,
it sounds like a lot, but to somebody that shoots a lot, it really wasn't, you know.
Dude, especially 22 for long rifles, dude. I got a box of freaking, probably a box of 500 sitting in the garage right now, and it ain't shit because it's 22s. You just pop those off like they're BBs because they ain't
exactly
nothing.
Yeah, it's a step up from a pellet gun, you know, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody in the family knew that she wanted that specific gun. But then I also heard some conflicting stuff there where the father in that interview you referenced, Chris, said he knew she wanted a gun, but she never asked for it. So I don't know who's right there, but whatever. You know,
see, I had also heard that she had asked for a radio for Christmas, but he got her the gun.
Yeah, I did hear about the radio, and yes. But I also heard that everybody in the family knew she wanted this gun. So I'm not sure. Whatever, she gets the gun. And, you know, Chris,
is school. I'm ready.
It's easy to blame the dad here, but, you know, it is a different time. And, you know, she grew up around guns and with her dad and her brother, like we were saying.
Yeah, you can't really blame the dad because they would shoot together in the desert anyway, whatnot. And this is like the 70s and shit. Like around here and whatnot, back then, fucking motherfuckers be driving their truck with the fucking shotgun in the back glass of their truck. Like guns were just a thing. They weren't like, people weren't so feared of them as they are. This is never expected. Now shit like this is just so common that people are fucked up about it. So you can't really blame the dad for getting her the gun because that's what they did. That was like a hobby, basically.
Yeah. Did you grow up around guns? Was your dad?
We personally didn't have guns in the house, but my uncles and all that we would shoot all the time. We'd go out to like my grandparents or whatever, and we'd shoot all the time. But yeah, I mean, I grew up around guns, yes.
Yeah,
and it was never an issue.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was really big into hunting, still is. It's unbelievable. He's going to be 80 in January, and the fucking guy goes out on these hunts, goes to Alaska to fish. I mean, he's very active with that stuff. Mostly into bow hunting, though, but he was, you know, he went out every season, muzzle loader, you know, shotgun, whatever. Loved to hunt deer, still doing it, which is awesome. And when he was a parole officer there in New York, he was one of the instructors at the academy where the New York State Troopers got trained when they went through. So he did a handgun course there. So he's always had handguns, rifles, shotguns, bows, knives, whatever. And, you know, I just learned that you just respect it and you don't do anything fucking stupid because he'd have put me through a fucking wall, you know, had he caught me doing some dumbass shit, you know, so.
You catch the butt of that rifle to your forehead.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, when you grow up around it, it's different. And I know that it sounds crazy to people that aren't, you know, into guns. I'm not particularly into them. I think the Army like broke me of any love I would have ever had of doing that because I don't have a gun. I'm not into it. But I don't know, Joey, what do you think about the issue with the dad with the rifle and the getting it for her for Christmas?
I mean, I think, you know, as fucking crazy as old Wally was, I think he said it best in his interview when they fucking asked him about that. And he said, well, that's none of your damn business. And he's talking about, you know, I felt that my daughter was responsible enough in my eyes and in my mind to have that, you know, so he felt no qualms about getting it. So why the hell would he feel guilty about it later on? Like you said, people can grow up respecting guns and everything else. And it's all, a lot of it's going to come down to that individual because there's a bunch of you know, shooters, mass shooters, school shooters, whatever, they also were brought up to respect guns and learn how to safely handle them and everything else. So it's not a matter of that, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because it's a matter of, does that individual have the desire to cause the harm and to cross that border into that area of doing that shit? Right. And I feel like it's impossible to ever predict that. And the case that we're doing tonight is an early but definitely surefire example of that, because I promise that not one fucking person around them, no matter how many guns she went out shooting on the range and everything else, would ever have thought that she was going to turn around and do something like that.
No, I think you're right, dude. I think you're right. Now, Shane, again, you're the Canadian here, but what is it like with guns up in Canada? I mean, is it obviously different if you're in the country as compared to the bigger cities? But what's the situation up there?
Yeah, for sure. It's guns are not common like they are in the States, but in the rural areas, they're more common than the cities, and it's mostly all rifles. There's no handguns.
Right.
It's not very common at all to have a handgun. But you know, if you live on a farm or in the bush up north, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a rifle or two at home. That wouldn't be surprising. The majority of urban folk, though. They're not going to own guns. It's mostly people who hunt or spend time in the bush, and you know, urban people don't drive around around town with guns in their cars or in their vehicle or anything. It's
what about Cyrus?
Definitely not a big gun culture.
What about Cyrus, though, man? He always had a handgun. Safety was always off, man. Safety off, baby.
Yeah. There's no big gun shows here. There's very few gun stores. And the only people who I've known to have guns, drive around with guns, or have guns at home, they've either been farmers, hunters, or they're criminals up to shady shit.
Right.
Right.
But that being said, there's probably more guns than I thought, though, you know, and just today on Twitter, you know, this fact or fiction, I don't know, but I read that Canada ranks number 9th in the world for a guns to people ratio.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Was the U.S. number 1?
Yeah, I didn't see that. They were talking about Canada.
Yeah, I would think the U.S. got to be, but I don't know. The people, though, it's hard to say. It's a big country. So
people in Canada probably keep that shit to themselves. Like, yeah, I got a gun, but that's my business, and I don't put it out.
You don't need to know about it.
Yeah. Move on, son. Move on. Pass the poutine, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's you know, the 9-year-old neighbor, he moves away, so that's good for him. All right, he doesn't need to be around her. But the weekend,
she's a bad influence.
She was, man, the bad fucking influence. But he goes back to see her the weekend before the shooting, and he rides his bike for like hours to come see her. So I mean, I don't know if he was trying to get some pussy or what was going on there, but they were harassing the girls again. So those 2 girls that, you know, turned them in, apparently they're harassing them again, staring them down and doing all this weird shit. And then she ends up telling Brant that she has big plans for Monday and that he's going to hear all about it in the news. And the thing is, I saw that they often talked about these kind of fictitious murder plots and kind of, you know, crazy shit. But so, you know, who knows if he actually believed she was really going to do it or not. I'm sure he was pretty shocked when he put the fucking news on.
Right. Well, you gotta think about it. This kid's 9 years old. Fucking
right. That's a pretty heavy shit to be dealing with.
Like 9 years old, and she's 16 at the time.
Yeah, Robbie's 8. Like my grandson is 8. Like that's fucked up to think that a year like he's way too young to be dealing with some shit like this.
Right.
Maybe it was only fictitious in his eyes. You know,
possible. It's possible, man.
To her, she was fucking plotting and planning the whole time, and to him, he's just like, "Oh, we're just bullshit."
Yeah, it's very possible, man.
Well, now that I think about it, shit. fucking Courtney's youngest is 8. He's almost 9, and sometimes I'll just be like, "We should just go around and just kill everybody, dude." Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, probably not the best word choice there, you know. But she ends up, Chris. She tells her dad she's having some female problems, so he's not going to argue with that. She says she wants to stay home for Monday January 29th of 1979, man.
Dude, yeah, she fucking man, that's like almost my fucking 1 year birthday, bro.
Yeah. That's weird.
Like but she tells her dad she's not feeling good. She's fucking bleeding out the cunt or whatever. Fucking who knows. Like, can I stay home? He lets us stay home because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, dads aren't going to argue with that. You know what I mean? When you hear that, you're like, yeah, whatever. Just deal with it. I don't want to see it, you know?
Right. Like, but yeah, he lets us stay home, and she's got that fucking goddamn gun, dude.
Yep. The old Ruger 22, man.
Ruger 22. She's got a fucking pellet gun too.
Yeah.
But like when you got a full on fucking rifle, like who cares about that?
Right.
Nice. And she's getting all drunk and shit, like 16 years old. I ain't going to school. I'm gonna get wasted.
Southern Comfort, man. God, I puked so many times drinking that shit.
Fucking gross.
I can't do it, man.
Okay, so when me and Travis, Craig's brother, lived in the bottom apartment on Roosevelt, and Michael and fucking Crack lived in the apartment above us, we would always get into fights all the time because we get the Southern Comfort.
Oh, yeah.
And we just called that shit liquid hate because we drink like 2 or 3 bottles of it at night and just get into violent fights with each other all the time.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't do it. like I remember one time fucking Travis fucking came at me with this fucking little battle axe. And fucking Michael's like, fuck you, dude. He runs up to his apartment. He comes down with another battle axe. They're going at it. It's like, you fucking come at my brother with a fucking axe, dude. Dude, it was fucking chaos, dude. But that shit was fun, dude.
That's like the birth of the nation there, man.
Right? Yeah, she's getting all lit up. She's got her 22. She's looking at it like she's Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
Like fucking ready to make this shit go down for real.
Yeah, it's getting ready to go down. She uses the butt of the gun to bust out the glass side lights on either side of the door and use the frame to prop up the 22 with a perfect view of the school across the street. And she claims she'd been drinking heavily for weeks leading up to this incident. And like Chris was saying, she's drinking that fucking Southern Comfort that morning, taking pills, and also she's claiming pot laced with PCP. So I don't know how in the fuck she would be even of the right mind to do this. I mean, Joey, you're in the 419, you're the resident expert on such things, but I mean, is this just over the top? I mean, come on.
I don't know, but if she's partying that hard, the possibility that she could believe that she could pull off some dumbass shit or just, get the wild hair to fucking do this shit. But I think there was too much of a trail that showed that she thought about this for too long. Like maybe not this specific incident, but like
doing something.
Doing something. She was tired of shit, and eventually something was going to go down.
Right.
It makes me wonder, like, she waited for the kids on the bus to show up. Or the school bus, and it was a small school, but do you remember, was it Son of Sam? I think he wrote a letter talking about he was going to wait outside the fucking, or maybe it was Zodiac, but they said that they were going to wait outside and fucking pick off the kiddies off the school bus.
On the bus, that was Zodiac.
Yeah. But regardless, that one, that was right before kind of this happened anyway, so I'm sure that she was familiar with the case. Right. And you got to wonder if she was like, man, that's a good idea. You could.
That's very possible, dude. Very possible out there in California, so definitely would have been hearing all about that shit. So, it's just a frightening fucking situation, because everything's set up to fucking, just go down here. And, she has a straight shot to the main walkway that led to those front doors of the school. So
how crazy is that?
Exactly.
Like just like right there, just like it's like literally like a shooting range.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's downfield. And that's the reference. That was the references that she used, was like being on the shooting range. It's 8:20 a.m. and she starts shooting. The first victim is a little girl. She kept on shooting other kids as they walked to school or were getting off the bus. And, you know, she's using a 22, so it's not going to make like a tremendous amount of noise. And the witnesses they talked to said, you know, they thought it was a firecracker. Then they thought maybe it was a car backfire, you know. And obviously, as it continues, you know something's up. But it wasn't like she's shooting a fucking AK-47 or something that's going to make a whole bunch of fucking noise, you know.
Yeah, she got a 7.26 fucking.
Right, exactly. So one girl got shot and then hid in the school because she said she was embarrassed that she got shot, which is so fucked up.
Yeah, like, why are you embarrassed you got shot? Like,
I'm sure she was in shock.
That mentality,
probably.
obviously shocked, but that mentality, like, oh man, I'm
going to get in trouble or something. You know?
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble because somebody shot. That's fucking.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It is. It's sad.
Well, some of those people that were there said that they were just so confused by what was going on. And nowadays, if anybody even heard a loud noise, they would in a school, they probably think they're about to get shot up.
Exactly.
That's
they're
very
on
true.
the paranoid defensive. But back then, like it was happening around them, and they were still so confused. What the hell's even going on? Like,
exactly.
You know, they weren't even worried for a little while, and then all of a sudden, obviously, you know, you see bodies falling.
Yeah, definitely starts getting fucked up. But thankfully, none of the kids are killed. But there were 8 wounded. She fired. I saw on one case 30. I also saw the police said 36. So I'm going to go with the police. 36 shots, hit 11 people. So I'm starting to wonder how good of a shot is this chick. I mean, she had a fucking kill zone, like Shane said, right there, 150 feet away. I mean, I don't know. Unless she was just trying to, you know, get cute and like nearly hit people. I don't know.
She had 30% of her targets. I mean, that's fucking pretty good, I would think.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
And also, it being a fucking 22, it's not like it's high velocity and shit. Like, had it been a bigger round, I'm sure if she was aiming right, she probably, man, she was fucked up on PCP, bro.
I guess that's what I'm saying, you know. So I mean,
kind of it leads credence to her being pretty high and drunk on something.
Exactly. But you know, we're going to find out about that. But Shane, who were the 2 that she killed?
She ended up killing a couple of veterans. One was the principal. Yeah, it was Burton Ragg. He heard the gunfire, and he ran out to see what was going on, trying to help the kids, get them out of there, get them to safety. And he took 2 shots in the chest. He was alive for a while, but he died in the hospital. And he was a veteran of World War II. The other one was the school custodian, Mike Suchar. He was known as Mr. Mike. He went out to cover up the principal with a blanket, and he was going to try and drag away a wounded kid. And he got shot twice and died as well. He was a Navy veteran, served in World War II and in Korea. They were both heralded as heroes in their death.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
yeah, that's fucked up. I mean, in both cases, trying to save these kids. I mean, just absolutely awful. And you know, to go through the shit they went through, especially the janitor going through 2 wars. I mean, goddamn, that's just fucking
and that's
shit.
how you die.
Yeah, die from some fucking stupid chick over across the street. Now, the secretaries of the school see that the gunfire is coming from the house, so they call the cops. And in a few minutes, though, in short order, 2 are dead, and like we said, several are wounded. And this is definitely an insane situation, again, at a time when none of this was ever a thing. So, you know, I spent a lot of time, I used to, not so much now, for my day job, working in schools, for schools, that sort of thing. And this is such a scary concept because I've been in them and I've thought, like, what the hell would happen if, you know, and I'm in here when this happens, you know. And so when the person is hidden like this, it makes it even more fucked up. You know, the Full Metal Jacket reference, Chris, you know, the sniper. You know, that's like half the movie is them getting picked off one by the sniper. You can't see it, but you know it's there and it's picking you off and it's fucking unnerving. You know, it really is, you know. So I could see where that is just adding to this whole situation, you know. It's not like Columbine where they're up in their face doing it, you know.
Right. They're just coming out of like going at it. No, they're hidden. You don't know where these shots are fucking coming from.
Right.
What the fuck do I do? Like,
yeah. And I mean, Chris, I mean, the stories of these kids, the way they were shot and crawling to safety, I mean, this has got to leave scars for a long time for any sort of mental health. I mean, goddamn.
you know it does. Like, I should have wrote down the name, but in the fucking goddamn documentary, the one girl that got shot through the wrist and whatever, she's in the documentary. Like, she was talking about how, like, it caused her, like, not just physical pain, but mental fucking anguish and shit through the rest of her life. Like, fucking, how is this happening? Fucking, I'm 8 years old or whatever, and I'm getting shot at school. Like, this is supposed to be a fucking safe zone, dude.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't supposed to be happening in 1979. Like you said, this is never heard of before, ever. Like,
right.
A school mass shooting like this, it's just insane.
Yeah. Definitely. And, you know, when you're caught off guard like that, even the cops, you know, they're not trained for anything like this, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, Columbine, they were still, you know, not knowing what the hell they were doing. It wasn't until after Columbine, because we talked about that before, you know, that was kind of like the definitive, like, change. I know Mick has talked about that before when we've had him on talking about that sort of thing. But, you know, even though a 22 is a small bullet, they cause a lot of damage because they're bouncing around in the body, just wreaking havoc. So I know we were talking about it being a, you know, small caliber and, you know, a step up from a pellet gun. But I mean, 22s obviously kill people, you know, and they could do a lot of damage if, you know, you're hitting people in the right places. Or the wrong places, I should say. But I thought the one guy that came up with the idea to drive the garbage truck in front of the school was fucking genius, man. Yeah, I mean, a lot of kids were able to get out of there. This would have been a lot worse had that not happened. You know, you probably would have had at least double or triple the amount of killed and wounded, I think, in this situation.
Yeah, now you got a big steel block in front of the house. Like, the bullets are not penetrating that at all.
Exactly. Yeah, once the driver parks it, he can get out the passenger side and you know, be whisked away with the rest, you know. So, yeah, that was genius. But, you know, the cops know she's there in the house, and the media shows up, of course, and it's like a 3-ring fucking circus with film, and they're, you know, trying to cover this. They're going door to door to get witnesses to talk to them, and the cops are telling them to get the fuck out because they're interfering with shit. And, you know, they're even calling the neighbors because, you know, they're listed in a phone book, you know, back then. And they're
a phone book?
Yeah, right. And they're calling people, and apparently one of them called Brenda, which was kind of crazy. That
first one they called was Brenda.
That's right, Shane. I mean, how crazy is that? And she's like laughing about it, and they're like, she says, "Oh yeah, you know, I saw it coming from blah 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 address," and they're like, "That's your address," and she's like, "I know, I'm the one doing it," you know, and she's like laughing about it, you know.
That's fucking
so bizarre,
insane,
so insane. But Joey, this bitch is all up on fucking PCP and weed downers. I mean, drinking that Southern Comfort. I mean,
so cold.
Would she even be in her right mind to be doing this like this? I mean, what do you think? I know we've been saying it, but I'm really questioning it, dude.
If she was doing all that stuff, no, obviously you wouldn't be in your right mind for anything. Now, the fact is that the toxicology report showed that she didn't have any of that shit.
Right. Nothing.
So that to me was one of the biggest telltales about how she was just lying. And after she did all this and she talked to the cops and said her Mondays thing and all that,
right?
Like, she was very calm about it. I don't know. She just didn't come off as somebody who was like super fucking twigged out on drugs or whatever.
Right.
Maybe chill, maybe a little fucking drunk, you know what I'm saying? Smoke some weed. Like, I'll see that. But as far as somebody that's fucking way out of their mind on a bunch of fucking like psychotropics and shit, I don't know.
Because there was a part where your instance where she said that she looked outside and she saw combat and shit. So that's
commandos. That was part of her.
Yeah,
That
like
was
the
what
SWAT
she was going to
team.
use as part of her defense, though, I think.
Right. Which is fucked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all that shit came up later on.
Right.
She
Right.
fucking,
Exactly.
You know, so I don't. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what she was really thinking, and that's part of the mystery of this one. You know.
Right.
But
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, that whole thing with the, you know, I started shooting. I don't know. I just don't like Mondays. I did this because it's a way to cheer up the day. No one likes Mondays. I mean, really? And so those are just great for headlines, you know, and the media is all over this shit. And then
I ain't gonna lie. I walk into work sometimes and look around like, huh.
I fucking hate Mondays too. I'm with the rest of the world. I can't fucking stand it either. It's a little bit easier because normally on Mondays and Tuesdays I work from home all day, so it still sucks, but at least I'm home, you know. But Shane, this is going to spark a little controversy with a song. You brought it up earlier, but what can you tell us about that tune, man?
That's the Boomtown Rats. I Don't Like Mondays. They were Irish new wave band with a few hits in the late 70s, not very well known in the United States at the time. They claimed to be punk, but, you know, I've heard the song before. It doesn't sound like fucking
No,
punk
it really doesn't.
It's
just some
punk.
poppy kind of catchy little
new
ditty.
wave.
New wave, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was their one hit song. It was their breakout song. They went into #1 in the UK for 4 weeks. They gained popularity in Canada and North America and the States. And the Spencer family actually tried unsuccessfully to stop the song from being released in the States, and they were unsuccessful at that.
Interesting.
And the writer, Bob Geldof, you know, it's a pretty common name.
Yeah.
He later became pretty famous in the music industry.
Yeah.
He said he regretted writing the song because he made Brenda famous.
Interesting.
And to quote Bob, he says, "It was a perfect, senseless act, and I Don't Like Monday was the perfect, senseless reason for doing it. So perhaps I wrote the perfect, senseless song to illustrate it, and it wasn't an attempt to exploit tragedy."
Wow.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, but you know.
Did you see them talking to that? I can't remember the lady's name. She was a survivor.
The one that got shot in the wrist. Yeah.
And she was like, I would go into stores and hear this song playing,
right?
And it was about this tragedy. And she goes, actually, it was a pretty good song.
Yeah, it was a good song. Yeah, song was actually
like the song.
She was definitely a pretty good sport about it. I don't think I would have felt the same way about that shit, you know. But so you know, definitely a little controversy with that. Now another reporter's calling her. She continues to talk, and she's got that weird affect, you know, very little, you know, feeling, very monotone, very similar to her mom. You know, her mom was kind of like that. And she said she liked to shoot the kids in bright colored jackets since it reminded her of shooting at targets. I mean, she was alluding to like we were talking earlier, like being in a shooting range. And she hung up the phone, and then at 9 a.m., which is 30 minutes in, she stopped shooting. So it lasted for 30 minutes, and then that was that. Of course, now you got this standoff, so the police are trying to get to her. The media, you know, been calling her. You know, the police are telling them to back the fuck off. You know, it's just getting kind of crazy. The cops send a hostage negotiator to the scene to try to get, you know, her out and the father to get home from work. And he helped the cops kind of map out how the layout of the house was in case they had to go in. So, you know, shit is happening. It's getting kind of crazy. And Chris, that one negotiator, though, you know, was talking to her through a megaphone. What was the deal with that? And she was wanting some food, man.
like you alluded to earlier about the Whoppers, dude. Yep. She said she wanted a Whopper, dude. Maybe
with cheese, you think, or not?
Oh, you gotta get cheese on it.
Well,
bro.
Of course. I'm just thinking, you know, she's out there in California. I don't know, but Whopper with cheese, we'll say. All right,
Whopper with cheese. And if it was me, no onion. But fucking, fucking, she wanted the Whopper, and she got one.
She did,
didn't she? Yeah, she got one.
She did.
Yeah.
I wonder though, did Burger King give her free food like Charles Ramsey got with the McDonald's deal? I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that was in Cleveland, dude.
Yeah,
so like
kind of coincidental.
Cleveland Elementary School,
right?
So maybe it's like, hey, let's fucking
Burger
keep the
King
Cleveland thing going.
Burger King should have done the same for her, you know.
Right, like you get Whoppers and you get this crown.
Yeah, the crown. I used to embarrass the fuck out of my kids with the crown. I used to love to wear it and shit, and they would get so mad. And I would fucking talk about that I was the king and stuff, and they would get all pissed off at me. So
I can only imagine. I can see Joey's face right now.
Oh yeah, I get them all fired up. Get them all fired up. So Joey, Brenda has some really horrible shit that she says to the reporters. I mean, she just keeps upping the ante with what she's telling them, man. She should just shut up.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously gave no fucks at this time, and she was, either playing with them, or she was out of her mind, whichever way you look at it. But she told them that she really enjoyed shooting the kids, and that she loved the way that they all just stood around.
What the fuck?
To her, like we said, it was target shooting.
Yeah, that's just fucking sick, man. That's wow. So she is not helping her cause at all with these fucking comments. No. Any attorney's going to tell you, shut the fuck up. Don't say anything, right?
Right. Don't talk, dude.
Don't talk at all, So
and at this time, technically, I mean, what the fuck does she even know about anything? Because she's a minor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she's going to get later on charged as an adult, but at this time she's just a minor. So to put it in more perspective, does a 16-year-old even know what the fuck to shut up or not talk to the cops?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, for sure. I mean, people of age do it, but certainly even less so. Yes, a 16-year-old girl. Or a kid doesn't have to be a girl. Just 16-year-old, not going to be mature enough to understand to be quiet.
Her talking about the Monday, the Monday statement. I mean, later on, she was like, "That was a stupid ass thing."
Oh
to
yeah,
say.
Yeah. She regrets it.
But I know, like, whenever I was a kid and I was wilding out and shit, and I was fucking, crazy before I went to prison. Prison helped me out too, really, because I was fucking going way off the deep end. But at that time, I mean, I would have done some shit that was fucking way off the top too. Not saying shooting up some shit, but as far as like saying some dumbass shit to the cops, like it's crazy shit because I'm fucking young and dumb and think I'm fucking not going to get fucking talked to like that by these authorities, and really you're just fucking yourself in the long run. You don't realize
exactly. So she tells the negotiator to tell her dad to get screwed, which I thought is kind of funny, and how she hated everyone. She told them all about the drugs she took and the drinking, and the police said it sounded like she was exaggerating when she talked about being in all these fights and acting like she's fucking Billy Badass, and how she's taking all these hard drugs. It just sounded very ridiculous. After about 90 minutes, though, of this talking to negotiator, she hangs up, and then they call her and tell her, look, you got 20 minutes to figure this shit out, or we're coming in to get you. And, now she's, asking about whether she's going to go to juvie or actual prison, because I think she thought because I'm 16, nothing's really going to happen to me.
Right, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll go to juvie for a couple of years and then whatever, So, and she's also starting to get tired now. She's 6 hours into this bullshit, and she, of course, was bored. We know that. She said that over and over again. So, all these SWAT teams are surrounding the place ready to fucking strike on a moment's, word on, go, and then they'll go in and get her. So this is looking like it could get kind of wild. But Shane, what happens with old Brenda? She come to her senses?
Oh, yeah, about 7 hours after it started, she finally surrenders. There's a bit of back and forth, and they agree to her just walking out and laying down the rifles on the front walk. And she returns back to get the ammo, and she brings that out and sets it down beside the rifles, both the 22 and the pellet gun. And she had her arms totally full, 13 boxes of ammo. So that was a big trip. And she come out wearing some type of cargo military style pants and an oversized jacket. You know, it was cold out. She had a big jacket on, and she had on these weird aviator glasses, and her long stringy red hair flowing out from underneath her beanie type of cap. People call it a beanie. I've seen the picture. I'm from Canada. It looks like a fucking toque to me.
Right.
That's what we call it.
Oh, right. A toque.
I've heard that before as well. Yeah. A toque.
So she was very intense looking, and public saw of her was this crazy picture with the long red hair coming out from underneath the toque, and that's what they went with in the newspaper and the coverage, the news footage.
Yeah. How do you spell that, toque? I'm just intrigued now, Shane.
Yeah, I've seen it spelled a couple ways, but generally I think it's Toque.
Oh, okay. Oh. All right. Interesting.
You got to throw the Q in there.
Interesting.
It's French. That's the toque, eh?
Okay. There you go. See, learn something every day. Listening to Murder Metal Mayhem. Didn't think you were going to learn some French. Okay. So her father tells the cops that he would never have expected her to do this. We talked about that. The media is reporting he's an alcoholic, which apparently was not true. Obviously, the public's hating on him because he's the one that bought the gun. But, you know, we were talking about that earlier. You know, was he somewhat irresponsible if the daughter was going to psychiatric or, you know, psychology appointments on a weekly basis? Probably, looking back on it, not the smartest thing to do, right?
You know, this is something else about that too that I forgot too is, according to the mother, now you got to take her side of this.
Right.
There was expressions of suicidal thoughts from Brenda at that time, per her mother, but I didn't hear. Her dad said that he didn't, you know nothing about that. And I don't know if Brenda ever confirmed that she was feeling that way. She may have, I just don't remember. But her mom said she was, which was another concern why he got her the gun during that time period, if she was feeling suicidal. So,
but you know, with her case though, Joey, like, are there any police reports that show she actually tried to do something with the cops? I mean, if she's genuinely thinking her 9-year-old daughter at that time was being molested by her father for years, who's now buying a gun. Like,
go get your fucking
how many
box.
years? Yeah, how many years does this shit have to go on for before she fucking would do something? I mean, goddamn.
She, you know, as cold-blooded and heartless as she seemed to be about the whole situation too, it seems like she was really using as much as she could to distance herself from the situation and the responsibility of what happened. From both responsibility and Brenda herself. It felt like she was just trying to get away from that, you know?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I agree, man.
Her dad never, as much of a weirdo or piece of shit as he was, like, for her, he was in her life and at least talking about and dealing with what she did throughout that time. Not to mention, also another weird thing, but he lived in the same house. He's still, I don't know if he's still alive.
No, he's dead.
The last time but he lived there until
all the way.
Died.
Yes. Yeah, he stayed in that house. But Chris, luckily,
which is kind of fucked up.
It is kind of fucked up. So the 8 kids and the police officer, Chris, they all recovered from their injuries, right?
Yeah. The fucking like I said, there's a couple of the student victims that were in the interview. I should have wrote their fucking names down, but they were talking about their traumatic what they had going on in their and how it affected their lives. And then the cop, he's the one that got shot in the neck and like grazed his neck. He got lucky, honestly.
Yeah,
like fucking like getting shot in the neck's not a good thing.
No,
that could kill you really easy. But he ended up not being able to get some of the bullets out out of them, but he ended up having to retire. He couldn't fucking work on the police force anymore. And in the fucking documentary, you can hear him talking. It's like, I would love to be back out here working and doing my job, but I just can't because of my injuries from getting shot.
Right. I like what he said though when they asked him if she ever got out, and he said he'd get his gun and start wearing it again if she ever got out.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely feel for that guy.
There was another thing I saw too. Like other people said, like she got like victims or families of the principal and the custodian or whatever. Like, do you think she should ever get out or whatever? They're like, no. What if she gets out and she has another bad Monday? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that you had a bad Monday that day.
Right.
What if you wake up and you have another bad Monday? What are you gonna
there's
do?
only 7 days. That's pretty good percentage, you know.
That's true. She could go for Tuesdays, you know, but that's Murder Metal Mayhem Day, so that's
yeah,
just
you
not
can't
right.
do that.
That's just not right. So she gets charged with 2 counts of murder and, of course, all the attempted murder charges for the 9 victims that were injured. And, you know, like we talked about that debate of do you charge her as an adult or not, but obviously they did. And we were talking about that blood work coming back with no alcohol or drugs. I mean, very, very suspicious. You know, she's claiming she's drinking Southern Comfort and smoking PCP and all this other shit. And there's nothing in there. I mean, she was drinking like milk and eating cookies, no fucking hard drugs in her system. So not sure what's up with that. Her public defender was actually getting some death threats. So was Wally, of course. And like we said, he keeps living in that house, which is fucking bizarre. And
Would you want to leave that fucking place? You know you're going to get fucked with after that, dude.
Oh God! Yeah. And we're going to talk about the weirdness with him keeps going here.
Yeah.
But Joey, I saw, you know, like Shane was talking about with that EEG that showed that disorder that Brenda had. So
yeah, probably from that bike accident. I mean, who knows? Or possible abuse from her dad. I mean, we don't know everything that happened, but it did definitely show that she had damage to that lobe. And, you know, if it affects them aspects, then it definitely could have had a play in this.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you know, the doctor said, you know, she might have recovered fully from it if they had brought her into a fucking doctor, you know. So
yeah, but fuck that. Who's paying money for that little brat?
Exactly. And the mom's just like whatever about it, you know, it just kills me. So the story now gets even weirder. We're getting into
this is fucked up.
We're getting into like sugar babe territory here, right, Joey? I mean, this is getting a little 419 here. So Brenda is visiting in jail, or Wally's visiting Brenda in jail, the dad. He meets her cellmate, Sheila McCoy. She was just a few months younger than Brenda and looked a lot like her. I mean, a lot like her.
Yeah, it's so fucked.
Yeah. So, I mean, he starts visiting her when Brenda's getting her psych evaluation. So he's visiting the cellmate.
What up, girl?
Yeah. And then Sheila eventually walks out of juvie and into his van and he takes her to his house. Like, I don't even know how this is happening. He's 41, she's fucking 17, and he marries her. And he moves her into the house where the fucking shooting took place. The neighbors are freaking out because they see her and they think it's fucking Brenda. And they're
calling like, did Brenda get out?
Yeah, the cops even thought it was her.
The cops are like, wait, how is Brenda out of fucking?
Yeah. So how
is this
fucked up?
Dude?
How fucked up is this, right? So everybody's freaking out. And then to make it even creepier, they have a kid together and they name her Brenda Ann Spencer. I mean, really? I mean, seriously, how fucking creepy is that, Chris? I mean,
that's like some fucking just deranged fucking
some Springer shit, man.
No, Springer shit, but also like you're fucking putting this kid in a fucking state of life that who knows what the path is going to be.
Right.
Like, what did the kid look like Brenda as well? Like
that, I don't know, because if you remember in that documentary, she was there living with Wally as like a teenager, and she didn't want to be on camera. So they did talk to her, but she didn't want to be on the documentary. But of course, Wally eventually relents, and they do that out in the backyard. But she was never seen, so I don't know what she looks like. But it's so
just
creepy,
a rhetorical question. It's just like,
of course, though, no, it's fucking whacked, man, just whacked as fuck. And you know, then Sheila leaves, and
But
leaves
not
the
with the
baby
baby.
there. Yeah. So now
That's so
Wally's
fucked.
raising a kid, and he wanted his kids. Like he talks in that documentary about he fought to keep those kids. So when they left the mom to go to him, he apparently went to court to fight to keep them. So, I mean, again, he's got this weird two-sided thing because part of him seems like, hey, you know, that's a stand-up dad. You know, a lot of dads wouldn't want to do that, you know, but he did. 2 daughters. He still did it, you know. And
that's a weird thing, though.
But
like,
then he's
Brenda's
doing
the
this.
Brenda's the only one that's fucking weird, though.
Right.
And like claiming the sexual abuse and all that, but none of the other 2 kids.
That's a good
like,
point. The
the
other
older ones,
sister,
like-
I don't know if
like,
the older sister ever
dude,
claimed
like,
it.
are they just fucking so much in depression and hiding it? Or you would think that if something like that was actually happening in that house with all those kids there, they'd know and be like, no, Brenda was getting this
Right.
kind of abuse or this kind of treatment, whatever.
Right.
But maybe not. I guess not. You never know, but
Yeah. I don't know, Shane. What do you make of this fucking guy, man?
Yeah, I tend to believe the allegations of abuse. It took a long time for Brenda to come out with these allegations, and it seemed like she had a difficult time talking about it. She didn't say she was raped. She said she was sodomized. So
Right.
incestuous butt
I would
stuff,
call
yeah.
that rape. Yeah.
Yeah, so incestuous butt stuff, I guess, and it was very suspect that Wally married somebody who looked so much like her and the same
Right.
age. He obviously had some type of preference of
yeah, that is
regarding
fucked up.
what he wanted to fuck, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Just a lot of red flags there. He seems very rigid, very unemotional, and
Right.
he's definitely a fucked up character, not farther of the year material.
No.
He kind of plays like he's oblivious to everything. You know, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. I'm not
Right.
an alcoholic. I didn't cheat on my wife. You know, so
Right.
he seems kind of oblivious to everything.
Yeah. And at times he almost reminds me of Lionel Dahmer, although I think Lionel Dahmer was definitely less, you know, weird or creepy like this, but in the oblivious thing that you mentioned, Shane, just kind of like,
right.
really, dude? Like, were you that clueless to it? But maybe,
And
you know, when
people
you're
are
that
living under
close
his
to it.
roof and he knows nothing about her. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
And he's saying, you know, I never knew she was suicidal. Nobody told me. You know, he's
Right.
just oblivious to everything.
right. Very suspicious. And he died in 2016. So, of course, we're never going to know the truth. But, you know, definitely very creepy dude. I would tend to
For
believe
sure.
what you're saying too, Shane. I mean, the guy's just
I think
fucked up.
it's, you know, cases like this, they always say is it nature or nurture? And, you know, I'd say it's mostly nurture.
Yeah, I would agree in this case for sure. For sure. And if he hadn't married and gotten with the fucking cellmate that looked like her,
That was younger than his daughter. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been quite so leaning in that favor that he was probably guilty of what she accused him of. But to me, that's just like, dude, you just don't do that. Like that's
red
just
flag,
that's
red
just
flag.
fucked up, man. Like really, you know. Like Chris said, move away. You know, sell the house to a fucking creepy podcaster that wants to buy it for the fucking, you know, the morbid
Go on,
rights.
get, boy.
Go get a fucking place and fucking somewhere else and forget it ever happened and go on with your life. I mean, just so weird. But she ends up pleading guilty to 2 counts of murder. They drop the rest of the charges, but whatever. One day, though, after her 18th birthday, April 4th of 1980, she goes in for her sentencing. She gets 25 years to life for the murder charges and some additional concurrent time for killing or shooting the police officer.
Obviously, you're going to get time for shooting a cop.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah, and rightfully so. And she ends up with a fucking righteous mullet. I mean, one of the best mullets ever.
Oh my God, it's so good.
That prison interview, and she's been there for like 7 or 8 years, is just fucking
It's
epic.
so good. I'd still bang her, dude.
I want to get a fucking wig of that.
No, that fucking mullet is
It's just fucking wild with the red hair.
And she
The
still got them
definition of
fucking
a mullet.
glasses, dude.
Yeah, she still had the glasses. Yeah, that's what's wild, man. So, it's good to just go on YouTube and search for her name, and you'll find the interview, and in the documentaries you see it too. But one of the best mullets I've ever seen. She definitely gets super butch in some of that later stuff when she's going for a parole hearing, but she's been in prison for 25 years. Her last parole hearing was in 2022. And she's obviously denied. She's still in prison. She's not fucking going anywhere. I mean, you don't do what she did and fucking walk out. I mean, seriously.
No, you're not getting out.
No parole board is letting her fucking ass out of there. And I saw she gave herself a tattoo on her chest while she's in prison there. It says "Unforgiven and Alone" in runes on her chest. So apparently somebody thought it meant something else, and she said they read them wrong.
I can't remember what. No, that was something else. That was
it was something
courage
else.
and something. Courage and something.
Yeah, something like that. So who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
But anything to add to this one, guys? I mean, Brenda Ann Spencer, I think a name a lot of people didn't know about, but as always, Murder Metal Mayhem is educating the masses. We're an hour and 35 minutes into this one, so we definitely we dug into this one and got a good stuff. So anything to add, guys?
What was the deal with the second toxicology report? There was another one, and that said she had like lethal amounts of alcohol and drugs in her system.
Oh,
that wasn't submitted to court. It wasn't admissible.
Interesting.
The only one I saw was like she had nothing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, there was a second one, but it wasn't wasn't admissible for whatever reason.
Interesting. Maybe it was
she had lethal levels.
Interesting. Maybe it was a private one she had done on her own. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe she was a zombie.
Yeah. Well, I did my
that's the only thing I couldn't figure out, why they wouldn't have taken that, because that really could have changed the outcome of the sentencing.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. I did my research for this one, watching a couple good documentaries, probably the ones you guys saw. I listened to the podcast You, Me, and Murder. I'd never listened to it before. Episode 19 they did on Brenda Spencer was very good. A lot of good info on her childhood I didn't get in other places, so I like that when I could find out stuff I couldn't find somewhere else. Also, I watched that documentary on her, I Don't Like Mondays. It's on Prime. I think it's on YouTube as well. There is stuff out there on her, so if you want to check it out, and those prison interviews, like I said, with the mullet, that's worth the weight in gold to just check that shit out. So now next week, we're going to be doing one of my favorite gangsters. I watched a documentary on him about 6 months ago, and I'm like, you know what? We got to do this one. 1930s, the era of Capone, Dillinger, the birth of the American gangster. We're going to have our buddy, the other Polish guy, Jeff Ignatowski, is going to be here with us, and we're going to be talking about some Babyface Nelson, man. That guy was fucking
he doesn't
brutal.
like being called that, right?
No, it's just like Scarface. Yeah, he fucking hates it. So it is a brutal story. This guy was violent. He loved to shoot people. He was not like Dillinger, like, Mr. Media. This motherfucker just wanted to kill people. Like, he was fucking nuts. So it was a short life, but it was one hell of a fucking mayhem fucking ride.
Is this the month though? We're gonna do a fucking goddamn mafia dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a female fucking serial killer. Gonna do a mafia dude.
Yeah, well, he wasn't in the mafia, but yeah, he was just a fucking gangster like the others, but very violent, even more so than the rest. I'm looking forward to it. There's some really good documentaries. I'll have to forward you guys some links to the stuff I watched. Joey, any page of days for us tonight?
I do, man. I got two of them. One of them's a little longer. One of them's real short, and it's specifically for Shawback.
Oh, God damn it.
So I'm going to do the longer one first. This is good. This is about Gary Gilmore. This story is fucking crazy. So Gary Gilmore, this dude, he's exposed to a life of crime from the get-go. He's born in 1940 in Sacramento, California. His dad, the senior, he was a con man and a bigamist, and he lived under the surname Kaufman to evade the law. So he would move his family all over the place. His dad would sell fake magazine subscriptions to keep the family afloat. And he would, but he would also engage in loud verbal abusive fights with the mother, and he would also beat Gary and his brothers, Frank Jr., Galen, and Mikhail. Now, Gary Gilmore, he does good in school and he shows promising artistic schools, but he drops out in the 9th grade, starts a car theft ring with his friends, and he gets arrested. He gets released to his father with nothing more than a warning, but 2 weeks later, he's arrested again and spends a year in reform school. In 1960, he's again arrested for car theft, but this is his first time as an adult. So
probably stopped stealing cars.
Yeah, right. So his dad dies of lung cancer in 1962 while Gary was serving time for driving without a license. So despite the rocky relationship with his father, he was distraught about it, and he tries to kill himself in prison when he finds out. When Gary gets released, he starts spiraling into alcoholism and committing more crimes. In 1964, he's sentenced as a habitual offender, and he gets 15 years in prison for assault and robbery. So he's in Oregon State Penitentiary, diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder with psychotic decompensation, and that means that he would experience episodes of increased psychosis and loss of control. So he's granted conditional release in 1972. They let him live in a house, and now he wants to enroll in this art program at the community college, but unfortunately, he gets rearrested and returned to prison within a month. He's transferred to a maximum security prison in 1975 due to extremely violent behavior, but he's still given parole the next year in 1976, and he moves to Utah. And in Utah, he lives with a distant relative, and he tries to hold down a job and have a relationship. He ends up with a young mother that has 2 children, but his search for stability doesn't last long because on July 19th, 1976, Gary Gilmore robs a gas station. Attendant Max Jensen's there, and even though he applies with Gary's orders, Gary shot him execution style in the back of the head. The following night, Gary replayed the robbery murder, killing motel manager Benny Bushnell in nearby Provo, Utah. Both victims were young college students that had infant children. So there's no witnesses to the Jensen murder, but Gary accidentally shot himself in the hand while trying to dispose of the gun in the Bushnell murder. So he crudely bandages his hand. He leaves a trail of blood from the crime scene, and the police were able to, find that, and then they get attracted to the suspicion of a mechanic that's at a garage where Gary had left his car prior to killing Bushnell. So he's apprehended pretty soon after that. He's tried for the murder of Bushnell. There were no charges brought to him for the murder of Max Jensen because there was just nothing to link him.
Right.
The prosecution calls 3 witnesses, a guest of the motel the night Bushnell was murdered, an FBI ballistics expert, and the patrolman who had followed the trail of blood from the bush or from the garage to the bush where Gary had ditched the gun. The defense didn't call any cross-examination of any witnesses. They rested their case without calling any of their own. And Gary asked the judge if he could take the stand in his own defense, possibly to claim insanity or something, but he withdrew his claim after his lawyers showed him findings of 4 psychiatrists who had examined him, and they said that he had been aware of what he was doing when he killed him and that he'd known he was in the wrong. He was found guilty on October 7th and sentenced to death. His execution in 1977 was the first one in the United States after more than 10 years. So Gary Gilmore, he declines to file an appeal. His mother attempted to get one in his name, but she was denied. The court ruled that Gary had waived his rights. The ACLU, they managed to get a stay of execution for a while, several times. But then Gary, he's like, man, you guys need to butt out and let me do what I'm doing. He had accepted his sentence, and he was ready to die.
He told the ACLU, fucking, get the fuck out, dude. Yeah, this is he's basically owning up.
Yeah, and he attempted suicide twice while he was on death row. So his execution takes place on the morning of January 17th, 1977. So he had chosen death by firing squad over hanging, so he decided to get shot instead.
Right.
His last words to his executioner were, "Let's do this." But his actual last words were to the Catholic prison chaplain, Dominus Vobiscum, which is "the Lord be with you," and to which the chaplain replied, "Et cum spiritu tuo," and which is "with your spirit." But his last words were, "Let's do this." So
let's do this.
All right. So to wind this story up, now Gary Gilmore, his last words, they were recorded. Let's do this, and they act through the ages crazy way, because one of the most well-known advertising slogans of all time in 1988, an ad man named Dan Whedon of Whedon and Kennedy, he was inspired by the famous last words to create the iconic Nike slogan, "Just do it."
Nice.
The brand saw such a massive uptick in sales after debuting the first "Just Do It" campaign that it's still used today. It's been translated into all the languages. And in 1995, Nike received an Access Award from the American Foundation for the Blind for doing a "Just Do It" poster in Braille. When they asked Dan Whedon about the dubious origins of the phrase, he just said, "Hey, none of us really paid that much attention. We just thought, yeah, that'd work." So that's the story of Gary Gilmore and how he inspired Nike.
God damn, that's fucking crazy, right, dude.
So this last page today is a fast one, but this is for Shawback. This is for you, bro. This one's called this is called "The Drunkest Driver," and I wish that I had this for the DUI episode.
This definitely had to be for me. Yeah.
All right. So summer 2021, Oregon. An Oregon man made the history as the drunkest driver in the U.S. He crashes his SUV into a concrete barrier after he was involved in a hit and run and an ensuing police chase. Miraculously, no one was harmed. So he's transported to a local hospital where his blood alcohol content was determined to be 0.778.
Jesus.
More than 9 times the legal limit. The man pleaded guilty to driving under the influence, reckless driving, and fleeing charges related to the hit and run. And he was sentenced to 13 months in prison. Now, the other two highest blood alcohols, there was one in Oregon, also Oregon, for 0.720, and one in South Dakota for 0.708. Now, both of those were women, which I was surprised by that.
God damn.
Yeah, so that's the drunkest driver. That was for you, Shawback.
Oh, that's good
Jesus
stuff.
Christ. I ain't gonna lie, dude. I ain't never been there. Like, I've been pretty drunk. I've been pretty drunk driving when I shouldn't have been. I'll admit that, but God damn.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. All right. Well, we want to say thanks, Shane, for coming on with us, of course.
Shane.
Awesome.
Love to have you on, dude. And sorry to keep you a little later tonight, having a few technical things going on. But
Shit happens.
Hell yeah. We have done our fair share of murdering tonight. I think it's about time to crank up some metal. So, Shane, what the fuck do we need to do?
Well, I got to say, I love this week's selection. It's a classic compilation cassette. You know, back before the internet, This is how shit was done. This is how you discovered new bands. And I used to trade and make my own mixtapes all the fucking time. So this is right on.
Hell yeah.
So,
dude.
You know what?
Let's go fucking metal.
Just because CK has passed on, he's not done educating the masses. CK will forever be the great metal motherfucker. We're here to stomp poser ass and eradicate the planet of their kind. CK has passed the torch to us, and we will forge the fuck on. In CK's name, we will bestow metal knowledge upon all of you. All right, forever tribute to the great metal motherfucker, CK.
Fuck yeah, CK, get it done.
That's right. Long live the great metal motherfucker. And we keep doing it because he would want us to, and we take turns each week when we got the horns, and that means you pick the segment, and Joey, you got the horns tonight. So what did you decide to do?
Tonight I'm going to follow in Chris's footsteps from last week, and he did an album. I'm doing a compilation album. This one isn't going to take very long because it's basically just a rundown of the songs that are on it, but I did have a little bit of background. So this is all coming out of the Roadrunner camp, and we are talking
I like that it's still Roadrunner too. That's badass.
It's still Roadrunner. Yep.
I love that.
So this is 1990.
Nice.
This is done by a guy named Monty Connor. Now, Monty Connor, he was the former VP of A&R for Roadrunner. He left in 2012 and partnered with Nuclear Blast, but he was with Roadrunner, I think, from 1987 all the way through then. So he was a very big part of what they were doing. This was his idea, was to do the compilations. He does the forwards in them. He's the one that made the connections with the bands to get them on it. Most of the bands on these compilations are Roadrunner bands, but there are a few that were smaller label bands that they added to the comps. So
that's cool.
The first one, At Death's Door, this was, like I said, 1990. The artwork for this one was done by Dan Seagrave, who did tons of stuff. He's done Morbid Angel covers and just a lot of stuff. So if you don't know Dan Seagrave's art, look it up and you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know that. So it's awesome because on the bottom of the At Death's Door, the original one, it says a collection of brutal death metal, which now in today's terminology with the genres and everything, brutal death metal is a genre of its own. And that's like what the heaviest death metal is. So them using that might have been part of coining the term. I don't know, but it did say that on there. So the first At Death's Door, so I'm just going to name the bands that are on it because Jesus Christ, there's so much, but Sepultura, Massive Gnosis, then they have Pestilence, Deicide doing Dead by Dawn on there, Morgoth, Burn Identity, which is the song we're going to play for the bumper music.
Right.
Sadist is on there, Exhorder with a badass song, Desecrator, Death with Open Casket, Obituary with Till Death. I mean, these are huge fucking songs.
Oh, they're fucking massive, dude.
Malevolent Creation was on there, Believer was on there, Cerebral Fix, and Atrocity. So that was the first At Death's Door. And then in 1993, Monty, he decided to do a second one, and this one had artwork by Hiro Takahashi. This one wasn't as well taken as the first one, but the first one was meant to be an introduction to the world, to be introduced to brutal death metal. Like, these are the established bands, these are the sick ones, this is who you need to listen to. Where the second At Death's Door, he was trying to showcase a little bit more of the unknown bands, the up and coming bands. Right.
Right.
Now, of course, he did have a few heavy hitters on this, but so this was the playlist for At Death's Door Part 2. Fear Factory started it off with Martyr. Then you had Disincarnate, which was, of course, James Murphy's band.
Right.
With Stench of Paradise Burning, then Suffocation, Prelude to Repulsion, and this is, I mean, Suffocation was pretty fucking fresh at that time. Cynic at that time, they had never even had anything released except for a demo, I think. So that was the first time that you could ever even own on an album. Gore Guts was on there, huge from fucking Canada. Sorrow, Death did God of Thunder, which I know Pete hates Kiss, but it is a Kiss cover that Death did. And then right after that, Malevolent Creation did a cover of Slayer, Piece by Piece, which is just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Atrocity returned for At Death's Door 2, so they were on both of them. Also, coming up next was Brujeria. Then
those guys, dude.
Yeah.
Wait. Brujeria.
Yeah.
That's that's who was texting Alan about, like, hey, can you translate this fucking song?
Oh yeah, right.
He's like, wait, what the fuck, dude?
Oh yeah. So yeah, Brujeria was on there, Immolation was on there, and then it ended with Skin Chamber, who was probably the least known. But yeah, so that was both albums, man. At Death's Door 1 and 2. If you listen to to what Shane said right before the break, I mean, these were fucking huge albums, especially for like a kid like me from the Midwest. Now back then there was only, you could literally be like, I listened to every death metal band and name 20 of them because there was that few at the time, you know,
right.
that were big. So for me to be able to hear like, you know, half of those bands growing up and finding the tapes, and then I got these compilations and learned about the other half through those. It was like very cool way to have bands be noticed and heard. So
find new bands.
Yeah, I did 4 of them in heavy core, doing Core Till Death. I mean, we did 4 comps, and I tried to get the best I could find. Yeah. And Gaither did the covers. I mean, really tried to make them look good and sound good too. So, that was some back in the day, man.
On Fuck the Ass Records, I did Associates of Grind, and I got 3 of those. The last one was a double disc. That's actually something I've been contemplating going back to and doing a new one. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely
compilation
old school shit for sure. Now, Chris, you got a lost classic for us?
I do. I have 1998's fucking Skinless Progression Toward Evil.
Hell yeah.
And that fucking album is badass. It's fucking got some great songs on it. You got fucking goddamn Tampon Lollipops is fucking just an amazing song.
Yeah.
And fucking got Fetus Goulash. Fucking, it's a great album. If you haven't heard Skinless's Progression Towards Evil, check that shit out. Great album. Go check it out.
Fuck yeah.
Just good old school death metal, fucking brutal shit.
Nice. All right. What have we been listening to, Chris? What you been jamming over there at the McCormick Studios?
Man, I'm not even going to get into it because, like, I can't even think. I just get drunk and listen to music, and it's just random. You know me, dude.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I'm not even going to get into it.
All right. Joey, what about you, man? What have you been jamming?
I've been jamming some fucking Suffocation. I was jamming the Despise the Sun EP. I've been jamming some Exhumed, gore metal. Love that fucking album. And then I was jamming. There was some Faith No More. I was listening to that too.
That's cool. I was checking out some Despised Icon over the weekend.
Oh,
I
haven't
heard them in a long time. And then going to some old school too, like real old school, some old Black Sabbath, some Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, just great albums. And then because you mentioned it last week, Joey, Entombed, Left Hand Path, been jamming that the last couple days. And going back to the one I've been jamming, also Metallium, that Millennium Metal album, the first one, so good. And oddly enough, I was so bummed out that the band was over with when I discovered them. Well, now they're back. And the singer, Henning Boss, the singer for Withering Scorn, he announced that they're going to record another album. So really excited about that. And the bass player died, so obviously they have to replace him. But the rest of the band, I think, except one, the second guitar player was somebody different. But basically, the core of the band coming back to record again, so that's super cool. I got the horns next, and like we've been saying, I mean, totally inspired by trying to think outside the box here, and so I'm going to do an organization. We've done lots of different things here. I'm going to do an organization that actually helped metal bands, that was started by a dude in a metal band. And I'm going to feature the organization that I started in 1999 called Heavycore. And I'm going to talk about how I started it, why I did the Core Till Death compilations I just was talking about, and the precursor to Murder Metal Mayhem, the Heavycore Chopping Block, a radio show I did for like 4 years and broadcast on several internet metal shows, played it in regular rotation. So it was a lot of fun. And like I said, a lot of the ideas I got when we started doing this came from my experiences doing that. So I'm going to do that next week, Heavycore. So
fucking right.
So, all right, Joey, anything going on with your distro? Anything Goremonger you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got the fucking Bass God EP up for download now on my Bandcamp. So
nice.
Yeah.
Or it's on my YouTube too if you want to stream it. But go to my Bandcamp. This shit's free. I didn't fucking put no charge on it. because I'm going to release a physical with those tracks later and some other ones. But for now, go listen to that. Fucking jam it out. I got 2 deflowered CDs that are fucking ready to come out. So, yeah, the distro's fucking popping. Hit me up for some new tunes.
Very cool, very cool. And link to all this, of course, in the episode description if you want to get a hold of Joey. The 666 Club, our Patreon, we appreciate those that do it. It's $3 a month, helps us pay the bills. So thank you, those that do join that 666 Club. I'll link to that in the episode description as well. All right, well, we have done plenty of metal tonight. So, Joey, what the fuck do we need to do?
I made my chocolate chip Pop-Tart, so you got to excuse me. But let's get our mayhem on.
Thanks for calling Unruh Gun Safety Training. Can I help you?
Yeah, so my kid, he got my pistol, he shot a hole in the floor and hit a water main. I need to put him through the class. Can you tell me a little more about your situation you got going on over there?
Yeah, it's a bit loud in here. Sorry about that. Our 40-hour gun safety course teaches you all the basics. But our advanced course, which is what I recommend, will teach your son some special urban warfare training.
Wait, what you talking about? Urban warfare? I'm just trying to get lessons for the gun.
Yep, you'll be able to take down at least 20 civilians in 5 minutes with an AR-15 or AK-47. Double taps to the head every time. Graduates get a Glock and a pallet of ammo.
Y'all are just fucked up. I'm gonna call somebody else.
Wow. The commercial for Unruh Gun Safety just perfectly fucking just awful. So yeah.
I like how you use the Unruh fucking commercial for this episode.
Exactly. Very good.
It had to be.
Very good. Very good. So and then before that was a track from At Death's Door, Joey, and that was some brutal shit, dude.
Morgoth with burnt offerings, right?
Burnt Identity.
Burnt Identity, yeah.
Burnt Identity. Burnt Joey, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're in Mayhem, guys, and that's where we tell some tales. And we're going up on 2 hours here, but we are going strong. And Joey and Chris, you guys both have a story, so you guys fight it out.
Yeah, I got a quick one. It'll be short. It just happened.
All right.
So fucking just like last weekend, we're all fucking we were hanging out at the house, had the kids here. And fucking, I'm in the garage, and the kids are outside in the yard playing basketball or whatever. And next thing I know, Sam and Lily, they come in like, Dad, I think there was a fucking loud noise over there. A car made a noise. I think there's a body in the fucking yard over there.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, I think there's a person laying in the yard over there on the side of the road. I'm like, oh my God, is this fucking really happening, dude?
Wow.
And fucking, I'm like, fuck. So I like go out there with him. I look over, I was like, and it from my house to where it was, it looked like a body. So I'm like, God damn it, this is happening right now, ain't it? So we walk over there, and no, it was like a fender of a car. Some motherfucker like fucking slammed into the fucking telephone pole and just,
oh man,
the telephone pole was about to fucking fall down. But like the underneath your fucking your fender, the plastic part underneath there, like the not mud flat, but the shield, whatever. Yeah, the undercarriage shit. That shit was laying in the yard. There was fucking glass and fucking plastic laying all over the fucking yard, across the street and everything. I'm just like, well, I'm glad it wasn't a fucking body.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fucked up.
But the kids really straight up like thought there was a person laying there dead in the yard. I'm like, fuck. So we checked that out, walked over there, saw what it was. And the fucking pole they hit was like shredded, dude. And they bounced. Like, I don't even know if they ever found out who. I don't even know. Their car had to be fucked up the way this fucking pole looked. But and all the car parts laying there. But I ended up calling to fucking get it fixed or whatever. But when you got a fucking 8-year-old and a 14-year-old walking up, Dad, I think there's a fucking body laying in the yard over there. I don't know what to do. It kind of freaks you out.
But, in a Shawbeck situation, that really not totally. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility. I mean, seriously. Right?
Yeah. That was my little Mayhem story. It kind of freaked me out. Like the kid saying Dad, I think there's a body laying in the yard.
I think so, too. That's a sentence you really don't want to hear. So... Wow. Yeah. All right, Joey, what about you, dude?
All right, I got some mayhem. I alluded to this last week. I'm going to go back to the VOF in Forest, Illinois for this story.
Oh, no mayhem ever happened there.
Right. It's so funny because it's a nothing-ass town, but it's just the funniest shit. Fucking, anyway, I forgot about this, and my buddy Matt, I went up to Detroit to see him, and he fucking reminded me of it, but me and him we made music together. We did fucking grind shit. Fucking put out some tunes, but we also fooled around with some rap shit. That we got like probably a couple 3 tracks that you can hear of me and him doing rap stuff, and it's it's just funny shit. It's just us being
it's good times. Yeah.
So anyway, we made this one song, and we called ourselves VOF Mafia. That was our fucking name. and Matt did all the beats for it and shit, and we recorded this, and I'm pretty positive this was on like a Thanksgiving night. I'm pretty sure I was home for my family, and then we were drinking 40s and shit in the VOF, and fucking, night of Thanksgiving, and so we're just recording some shit. But we did this song, and it's just like, it's so dumb, but it just, whatever. But anyway, so this is in transition from me moving from Illinois to Texas. So after I moved down there, I took this song and I put a visual to it, like just like a picture slideshow to it, not actual video, just fucking photographs and shit. But there was like stupid shit, pictures of drugs and like dead babies and just dumb shit, but also peppered in with images of us. And like there was like pictures of us fucking hanging out at the bar and some people we were with and all that shit. So,
right.
I get fucking, I'm working, I'm down in Texas, I'm at my job, and fucking, I check my phone whenever I'm on break, and my shit is blown the fuck up. Like, it is like non-stop shit. Motherfuckers telling me like, man, yeah, but one of them was from this girl, Abby, and I'm just going to say her name's Abby, but she was from the bar.
I probably know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, probably. But she's fucking flipping shit because one of the pictures that was in the slideshow was her. She was at the bar with us, so it was like her, me, and like 4 other people. But she was in this picture. Now the thing about Abby is she used to get banged when she was underage by one of the county cops that would fucking patrol around there, and everybody knew that shit was going on. So she had this whole thing in with the cops and all that, and she wanted to be a cop. And this is at the time she was trying to like work her way in, but she had already been, kicking it with them since she was underage. But so she is the one, she flips shit. She's like, I'm trying to do this and you can't have this bit. And there's like the cocaine and there's crack fucking rocks and all kinds of stupid shit in this video.
Oh, fucking hair. Dude,
yeah.
Livingston County was dumb.
Yeah, so she was like, I've already been, the police have already seen it and this and that. I mean, we're talking about a small ass town. We had Forest, Fairbury. So yeah, once this video came out, I'm sure everybody around there fucking heard this stupid ass thing and saw it, Right. So I got folk hitting me up Matt hit me up talking about how fucked up, like, oh man, I'm getting shit from this broad, yada yada. So I ended up fucking taking this thing down, and it was a whole fucking thing, but it was so fucking funny because it's so dumb if you look at it in hindsight. Right. And the song's really fucking funny, but it's funny also because it got around everybody, and like Matt's parents. So Matt was younger; he was still living at home when this came out. So his parents heard. Everybody heard it. Everybody in Forest heard this song, and like part where he's like talking about making all my money slanging VG, which VG is Vermilion Gold, which is the dirt weed that grows on the Vermilion River out there. Right. But his dad and all of them used to fucking be like, they would grow that shit every year out there on the river, and we called it Vermilion Gold VG. So his dad's hearing us singing about this shit, and it's just so fucking stupid. But yeah, they ended up making. I remember after we took that down, Matt and then our buddy the Head, which is actually like her cousin, they made a retaliatory song about that, talking about take this song down, ho, and they're talking all this shit. But it's just so dumb. But looking back on it, like this, if there's anybody that's a Goremonger fan, you can hear the Volk Mafia song. It's on one of my discs somewhere. That's just kind of a background to that. Maybe one day I'll put the visual back up just for kicks. But
that's just fucking fun.
Turned into a whole shit show over some stupid ass fucking YouTube.
That is great. That's good stuff. Fuck
Love
yeah,
it.
dude.
Love it.
All right. Well, killer cage match, guys. It's that time. We're going to do it. We got 100 killers, 100 objects for them to fight with. Our listeners provide the random numbers so we know who's fighting and what they're fighting with. Chris, who do we want to say thank you to?
Once again, tonight we have Colin 815 Rogers.
Fuck yeah.
Jess Miss does them fucking massages right, Brown.
Yep.
And we got Jeff fucking Killer Game fucking Ignatowski. Get it done.
Hell yeah. And we got a nasty one going on in the cage tonight, Joey. Who's fighting tonight?
We were saying, we got two sadistic motherfuckers in the cage match. We got Peter Curtin, and he's going to be going up against Lawrence Flyers Bittaker.
Oh, yeah. The vampire of Dusseldorf in there fighting, and Bittaker is one brutal son of a bitch. And, Chris, they got a couple of objects there to fight with. What are they fighting with? This is an interesting combination.
Yes, they do. They got themselves an electric drill. Now, we've gone through this before. Are we talking like corded or battery?
We'll say battery.
Battery, yeah, because it's got to be mobile.
Yeah.
And a fucking push lawnmower.
Yeah.
So they got that. They got a drill and a lawnmower going. And this variable, though.
Yeah, what's up with that, Joey?
The variable is Chris's brother Michael Shawback.
Oh, shit.
With his eyes sewn shut, wearing a Packers hat.
Oh, damn. Those are fighting words to a Bear fan. And the song playing is Angel of Death by Slayer, one of my favorites. All right, so we've got Peter Curtin and Lawrence Bittaker fighting in the cage with an electric drill, a push lawnmower, and Michael Shawback with his eyes sewn shut wearing a Packers hat. And Angel of Death is playing. Tom Araya's fucking screaming. Chris, where the fuck do we go with this one, dude?
Oh, I know where I'm going with this. Fucking goddamn fucking Curtin. He's over there. He's just trying to fucking kill fucking kids and drink their blood. Fucking Bittaker's over there. He just likes little girls. Meanwhile, Michael's sitting over there in the corner. He's got his eyes sewn shut. And there's his ref in the back of the corner over there. He's like, you do realize you have a Packers hat on your head right now, right? Michael just fucking snaps. Fucking goddamn. He just like tears his eyelids open, doesn't care. Just bleeding down his face, doesn't give a fuck. His eyes are going. He's like, I am the Angel of Death. He fucking grabs that electric drill. He's like, fuck you, fucking Bittaker. Fuck you and your fucking toolbox shit. Fuck you. And he fucking drills his eyes out and he fucking just bashes his head. He takes that lawnmower and he just mows the yard for a minute. He's looking at Kirk and he's like, you know what? fuck you. I'm gonna bash you. I'm gonna get you with this drug. I'm just gonna give it to Michael. Michael's just pissed off. He's got a Packers hat on.
Okay.
He just ripped his eyes open.
I could
Don't
see
care.
that. He doesn't give a fuck. Joey, what's your take on this one, dude?
Well, I mean, Angel of Death's playing by Slayer, so you know motherfuckers are already fucking going into maniacal fucking mode.
Oh, yeah.
Michael, he's so goddamn drunk. The thing is, he doesn't know that he has that Packers hat on, but fucking whenever the bell rings, Peter Curtin, he doesn't even fucking care about fucking Bittaker. He looks over and sees Michael with his eyes closed, sees all that blood inside that body, and he was like, man, I need to get over there and get that. How am I going to get this? He was like, I got this. Peter Curtin goes over to Michael, whispers in his ear, you're wearing a Packers hat. Michael says, what the fuck, goddamn ass cream? And he starts pulling at his eyes with his fucking hands, and he starts ripping at it, and the blood starts coming out.
Oh, man.
And Curtin's like,
he's like a Golden Corral at the fucking
fucking
chocolate fountain, man.
So he's going wild, but then all of a sudden Peter Curtin goes fucking Miami zombie killer on him and starts fucking eating his face. And he was like, but this isn't what I want. I want that blood from with an area that's fucking the most tasty. So he fucking bends over Michael while Michael's holding his face, trying to figure out what the hell's going on and why he has a Packers hat on his head. And Peter Curtin fucking digs his fucking fist into Michael's anus.
Shit. Oh, man.
He grabs a handful of whatever's inside and pulls it out like Fidel Lopez. And then he fucking starts drinking the blood out of the orifice of Michael's ass. Now, the whole time he's been doing this and Angel of Death's been playing, fucking Lawrence Bittaker's like, man, I got a fucking better plan because I'm a goddamn engineer and mechanic, some bitch. Right. And he takes that lawnmower and he fucking wrangles it up into a riding mower so he can sit on it while it's cruising around the cage. And he fucking takes that electric drill and he fucking affixes it to the front of it.
Like a Zamboni, man.
Peter Curtin, after he's been eating all this fucking ass blood out of Michael, he's fucking passed out. Michael, you got to picture it. It's kind of almost like Human Centipede. Michael's on his hands and knees, passed out, fucking dead, fucking in the fucking position like he's bowing. Peter Curtin is behind him, passed out on his back with his just mouth full of Mike's anus blood. And then from behind, Peter Curtin drives up on his drill-ridden lawnmower excursion machine and just starts drilling into Peter Curtin's cock and balls and taint area and fucking destroys him. And Peter Curtin can't move because he's lethargic from all this Michael ass blood that he's eating. And ends up being Lawrence Bittaker.
We need to write a song called Michael Ass Blood.
Michael's Ass Blood. Oh, man, that's some good shit, man.
That's fucking nice.
And that's why the listeners love some good Killer Cage match. Only here on Murder Metal Mayhem.
Damn, dude.
All right, a quick update. Update on Creation of Chaos 4. I appreciate all the advanced orders and the listeners that have bought copies.
I got mine.
Thank you. Joey, you like the way it turned out?
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah, I've got nothing but compliments, man. Brian did an amazing job. Brian Usual, Chew Dog Design. And the audiobook I've started, it's going very well. I'm using that new Hindenburg software called Narrator. It's really cool, and I'll have it done soon, so be patient. But you can go to PeteAltieri.com. You can buy any of my books in physical form. Once this is done, it'll be uploaded and available on Audible, but I can also sell audiobooks off the website. So you can bypass doing it. It'll probably be cheaper getting them from me. So I'll keep you posted. But if audiobooks are your thing, I know, Chris, you do a lot of that stuff. And I've done some of it, and it is pretty convenient if you're driving. So anyway, they'll be available both ways. I am running a big sale on the website, so check it out. The Murder Metal Mayhem website, talked about that. Definitely a cool place. You could buy some merch. And that YouTube channel we've got, you can go subscribe to that. All right, well, we have done plenty of mayhem tonight, so let's hit that fucking outro.
Day
Fuck yeah. Title track from the brand new Demolizer album called Post Necrotic Human. Definitely some good Danish thrash metal, if that's your thing. Joey, what about that bumper music tonight?
Demolizer and Mouse's Wake and Morgoth.
Fucking A, dude. The metal segment intro music, Chris.
Christ sakes, the great metal motherfucker. All hail CK.
You know it. And the Murder Metal Mayhem intro is Crawl Space by Low 12. Thank you to all you guys out there listening. We keep seeing the numbers. We've been just talking about, man, 8,000 listens last week. Fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much. And keep telling your friends about it. And Chris, we got some listeners. Yeah. Here's one that's a familiar face around Murder Metal Mayhem. What's the first one?
We got motherfucking Ray McFalls here saying, I love the Henry Hill episode. Now I got to go watch Goodfellas again. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, I love that. That was great. And thank you, Ray. That's the nice of you to say. And Joey, what about the second one?
Bob Jones Grown-Up commented, the Henry Hill episode was fucking epic. Forget about it. You guys really tell a good story and make it funny as hell.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Appreciate that, Bob. And Crystal Visions 564 comments, I'm in Greece and loving this podcast. I really love the metal and serial killers. My favorite part is the killer cage fights. Those are hilarious. So thanks, Crystal Visions. Definitely we enjoy doing some killer cage match. That's for sure.
That's the stupidest we get.
That's right.
We get stupid.
Never would have thought it would have grown to what it was when we first started doing it. I just thought it might have been a flash in the pan. All right. And the last one, Chris.
We got Helen Norris TX. I'm assuming Texas.
Yeah, probably.
Says, commented, my hubby of 34 years listens to you every week. I tried, but it's just too sick for my taste. But he listens in his chair, smokes pot, and listens to you on his earbuds since he's been retired.
Nice.
At least he leaves me alone. LOL. Well, I'm glad we can let your husband leave you alone.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. The guy's retired. He's just smoking weed with Joey, fucking listening to some
just like,
Murder Metal Mayhem. Nothing wrong with that. Not hurting anybody sitting there in the
getting
chair.
Fucking high, listening to some Murder Metal Mayhem.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Grab you a beer too, homie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, you could pick up any of my books on my website. I mentioned that. Got the new one coming out in August, but you can advance order it, and you'll get it now. Actually, I'm just shipping them out, so order away. The Murder Metal Mayhem website, getting some updates here. I got some pictures I'm uploading and setting up in a cool by year type of thing, so you can watch the progression of the stupidity as we've done it. Joey's distro, it's going to be linked in the episode description so you can get a hold of some good Goremonger and his other releases he's talking about. You can you can like our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter. Shane's going to take over the Twitter. I got to get him some info, and so that'll be a thing we're going to start doing more on. And of course, we mentioned the YouTube channel. Support the show by joining that Patreon. We appreciate those that do. And we can't let him go without hearing a karaoke song, a little blast from the past, so crank this one up. And until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
Just keep your fist cranking your cock.
Fuck Mondays.
I second that. Crazy! I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry
I do, I let myself worry. Wondering, what in the world did I do? Crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you. Crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for love in you. You crazy motherfuckers.